All right, this is King Bucho. Welcome to BDA Boxing, the Boxing Debate Arena. We have a post-fight show today. We're going to be talking about what transpired yesterday and also the breaking news that we've been getting today, this Sunday. All right, let's start with a shout-out with everybody in the chat. Who do we have here? We have JC, Buddy, Love, Langsbury, the Boxing Sicario. Who else? Team Batman Boxing, Hard Recoil, Oldwell, Shazar, Kidster. All right, guys, let's get this party started. All right, guys, don't forget to hit the like if you want to support the show. Also, you can support us with some shekels, with a super chat, and don't forget to check out our Patreon. We will be posting more on Patreon, especially now that we have this big Crawford-Canelo fight, and also other big fights that have just been announced. All right, enough bullshit. Let's talk some boxing here. Let's start with Jake Paul defeating Chavez Jr. in a very boring fucking fight. Jake Paul claims that he's a real boxer, and this is going to be one of the questions that we're going to be asking today. Is this guy for real? He says he wants to fight for a championship belt. So let's see what people have to say about this. BD, are you there?
Yes.
Hello.
No.
Hello, everyone.
All right, that's not how I sound. Come on.
Sounds like a smoker. BD, give us your thought on yesterday's fight.
Well, I mean, there were a lot more interesting fights than the Jake Paul fight, if you even want to call it that. But I saw some people saying, man, Chavez Jr. disappointed. Chavez Jr. let us down. I'm thinking he can only let you down if you had high expectations from him. Like, listen, I don't know how many people have been watching this guy fight or for how long they've been watching him fight, but I know you and I, Butcher, have been watching him since 2004 or 5, whenever it was that he turned pro. And we went through the whole roller coaster of Chavez Jr. when he would struggle with the guys that he was supposed to struggle with. I remember one time he struggled with the king of the Midwest. It was this white guy. And I think it was a draw or something, or a split decision. And then Chavez had to rematch him to really conclusively prove that he was better than this dude. I'm thinking, when you got to rematch a journeyman like that, your career is not off to a good start. And I understand he didn't have an amateur career or whatever. But then he would struggle against guys like Brian Vera. Nothing against Brian Vera, but he was undersized compared to Chavez. So Chavez had to implement a lot of weight bullying, weird post-fight, drug testing that never happened after certain fights, like against Andy Lee. And his best win was Andy Lee, if you think about it. And he saved his career or prolonged his career when he fought Sergio Martinez and then didn't do anything for 11 and a half rounds. And in the last round, almost knocks him out. And people are like, oh, man, if he rematches him, it could turn into Chavez versus Taylor, where at the last minute he knocks him out. People just went along with the Chavez Jr. ride. He quits against Fonfara. It's just he quits against Daniel Jacobs. It's just time after time he proved that he loses to an old Anderson Silva. He proved he wasn't about that life, as I like to say. So I don't know what people were expecting in this fight. Really, I really don't understand how people thought. One of the things I heard from people saying was, no, but he's in shape now. Okay, haven't we been saying that about him for 10 years, in the past 10 years? If he gets in shape, a la Zab Judah and Adrian Broner. I think the same people who fell for this con are the same people who fell for the Adrian Broner, Zab Judah con, and even the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul one. So I got no pity for these people. As for Jake Paul, he's going around saying, Piers Morgan, I don't know if people saw the Piers Morgan interview before the fight. He really got under Jake Paul's skin because he said, he was saying, you fought an old Mike Tyson, geriatric. When are you going to fight somebody that's worth it, that, man? Jake Paul will get really pissed. He's like, well, I'm here to steal your audience, Piers. It's like, I don't know. I don't think Piers Morgan's audience enjoys a guy like Jake Paul. Different age bracket, very boisterous. Long story short, because I'm making it too long here, Chavez Jr. showed you he didn't do anything for 8 rounds or 7.5 rounds. He got Jake Paul tired. He came on strong. Jake Paul was clinching like there was no tomorrow. Eyes wide open after he cut a right hand, which didn't even seem that hard. And then Chavez Jr., who's been in there with a lot of good guys, said, yeah, this guy ain't ready for a title shot. And that should tell you something, because there's 4 titles now. Some of them have different variations of the title. So in total, there's about 6 people per division calling themselves champion. And even then, I don't think Jake Paul is going to manage to, even if he does manage to win one, he ain't going to hold on to it for long. This guy has no stamina. After 4 or 5 punches, he's tired. He gasses. I mean, think about it. Chavez Jr., inactive for over a year, in recovery, reflexes shot based on all the cocaine he did and God knows what else. and he's ending the fight stronger than a guy who's 11 years his junior. I mean, that is horrible for Jake Paul. And I understand people are entertained by him. Some people like the event. People are dancing in the crowd and people are having a good time. Okay, if that's what you like, go watch it. But this whole concept of him being a real boxer, this is the second time in a row, by the way, that an older guy finished a fight stronger than him. The first one that I recall was Nate Diaz. So Jake Paul, I mean, look, he's doing what he does. He trains hard, but he ain't cut out to be a world-class fighter.
All right. Who else wants to go in?
Hello, everyone. How are we all doing today? Hello.
What the fuck is
this
that?
Solvers or
voice?
TV?
No, it's Solvers.
It is me. I'm Sobers. I'm just feeling a little under the weather today. I was hit by a car. Someone chopped off my arm. My dog died. I'm just having a rough day.
I don't get the reference, man.
I think it's
I'm making fun of this succubus whore that's slithering around these YouTube streets, right?
Oh,
so So maybe she'll eventually find her way here, and she'll jump on the panel. And
are you fucking kidding me? Sobers, we're sticking to boxing, and the board of directors actually told us that they don't want us to get involved in this shenanigans. So, nah, that ain't gonna happen.
All right, I'll pull back. So, anyways, let's talk. But you want to talk about these other fucking shenanigans, Julio Cesar Chavez and Jake Paul. You want to talk about these shenanigans? Let's talk about it. Gonzalo, I think you need to go on mute with. But let's talk about these other shenanigans. Let's talk about these other shenanigans, right? So Jake Paul's mouth was open. He was being a mouth breather midway through the second round, right? He was hitting Chavez Jr., a guy who boxed. He was a professional boxer. He was a champion, right? But he was a smaller guy. They were kind of close in size, but I mean, when they stood in front of each other, they were close in size. But this guy boxed at a smaller weight, right? So technically, he's a smaller guy. He's a smaller fighter. And, Jake Paul couldn't hurt him. He hit him with everything. And it was like a glorified sparring match. Chavez Jr. his best not to whoop Jake Paul's ass. I don't think I've seen him throw a punch for the first 4 or 5 rounds, right? And then when he did start throwing punches, he was landing them with ease. So what he was doing, like you were saying, BDA, he started to fight like in the 8th round. He actually started coming on strong. I think he was just trying to show Jake Paul, like, hey, bro, I gave you these. I'm giving you the fight, but just FYI, I could have done this to you the whole time. I could have been whipping your ass from the first round to now. And that's when you seen Jake Paul doing all that clinching. Like he was acting like he was in a war, and he was at war with himself. He Chavez was letting him tee off on him. You know what I mean? It reminded me like I had I haven't been in the gym in a while. I haven't thrown the gloves on in a while. And my nephew has, right? He's like, 16? And, he's more in shape and everything, and he's all feeling himself. And I'm like, let's throw the gloves on, bro. Let me see if I can go a round or two with you and if I won't get too gassed. And like I said, my nephew, he's small. Obviously, he's a lot lighter than me. And we're boxing, we're sparring, and he's like, I'm letting him hit me, right? That's what you do when someone's lighter than you and smaller than you. You kind of wave him in, and you're like, all right, well, get some work done. You know what I mean? You can't hurt me, so go ahead and tee off if you can. See if you can hit me cleanly, and then we'll just go from there. And that's what that's how you spar with someone smaller than you and who can't punch as hard as you, someone who's not on your level. And that's what I saw Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. doing with Jake Paul. It was like a little sparring session. He's like, all right, little guy, hit me as hard as you can. And then, when they start getting a little too brave, you gotta work them a little bit and be like, all right, little dude, don't get too brave. Just FYI, I could have done this the whole time. And that's how I saw that. That's how I saw that exhibition. It was a bullshit fight, and Chavez really, really, he really wipes his dad's legacy on his ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He really wipes his ass with his dad's legacy, and then he snorts it.
Yeah, his father, he must be feeling like shit. What do you guys think about Chavez Jr. saying that he started fighting after the 5th round or 8th round or something like that? Some people started interpreting that. Yeah.
I think he started fighting after the 8th round. He only started really fighting in the 8th round, and he was having ease landing on Paul. I think he was shaking him up with shots. So I'm telling you, I think he was trying his hardest not to whoop his ass the first couple of rounds.
What do you guys think?
Hmm.
He was holding back?
I mean, it kind of does make sense, but in my opinion, Chavez has always characterized himself as kind of doing the same thing throughout his whole career. It's more like a mental problem than him, because his brother's also the same. They just can't let their hands go. It's like a mental problem where they tense up, and the mind is not sending the signal to the hands for him to like get active by throwing the hands. It's just like a mental thing. It's like he's becoming blocked in the sense that he can't let his hands go. He's catching punches and he just can't let his hands go. It's more like a mental problem. So I mean, at 40, you know, I wouldn't expect him to do anything different that he hasn't done throughout his whole career. Remember when he fought Maravilla Martinez? He waited until the 12th round to finally let his hands go. So he basically was just trying to tire his opponent out by conserving his energy, taking the shots, blocking, getting the distance until he finally felt, comfortable to exchange. But, that's few and far between, and he was never going to get it done. And I think the father knows it. That's why they always keep blaming, oh, well, he's a good fighter, but he just never trains. And they blame it on that, that he never gets up for the moment because he doesn't train and that he's not being disciplined. So it's one of those things. And as far as like Jake Paul, I was listening to Paulie Malignaggi and he said it perfectly. He's really not that good of a boxer because when he goes on offense, he goes on offense. And when he goes on defense, he goes on defense. He can't transition from offense to defense. Like when the other guy's attacking you, all of a sudden switch it up and trade with the opponent. No, He has to wait till the opponent finishes throwing, so then he can throw. Or when he goes on the attack, but he can't go. He can't mix it up like that. You know what I mean?
He can't counter. He can catch and shoot. He can't do any of that. He has to reset, basically.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. Have you guys seen any improvement in Jake Paul's boxing?
Absolutely not. He's the same fighter. Oh, well, honestly, I was kind of impressed that he went 10 rounds. I didn't think he had that in him. I thought he was going to quit on the stool from exhaustion, like I said earlier. He was breathing out of his mouth with his mouth open, like in between the second and third round. He was exhausted by the fourth. He had his hands all the way down at his kneecaps, like in the sixth round. If Chavez wanted to whoop his ass, look, I'm not even a fan of the dude, right? He's a fucking disgrace or whatever. But if he wanted to whoop his ass, bro, he could have easily done that. That's what I think.
You know what? It's Gonzalo also hit the nail on the head about Chavez. Chavez just doesn't have that inner wherewithal. That's the excuse, right? There's always an excuse. That's why I say he's like the Zab Judah, Adrian Broner, same ilk. These guys like, well, if he got in shape, it's always that excuse. There's always that cop out, that crutch. And the reality is
a focus Broner, right, BDA?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. A focus Broner, in shape Judah. And just, like Gonzalo said, Chavez, whenever he would get hit, he would recede into a shell. He can't handle power. And say what you want about Jake Paul, but he's legitimately heavy-handed. But him saying that he would beat Zurdo, like he said, oh, Zurdo looks he's too slow. Maybe Jake Paul could start off quickly against Zurdo and have some success. But then Zurdo's going to be catching him with those uppercuts to the plexus, those right hooks. He's going to keep annoying him with his little pity pat shot that Jake Paul doesn't see coming. He's going to panic. He's going to try to clinch, and it's going to be bad, man.
Yeah.
I would love for Jake Paul to fight Zurdochenko and enter the Matrix. You dig?
Zurdochenko.
Yeah. No, I don't think that fight's ever going to happen. That's ridiculous. You could see that Jake Paul, like Soros was saying, he was fading in the last rounds. Imagine a championship fight, another additional 2 rounds. And he was getting tired from doing basically nothing because nothing was really happening in the fight. So imagine if he's actually in a fight from the get-go, he doesn't make it.
Bucho, when do you see someone like Chavez Jr. having a 40% connect ratio?
Yeah. And,
he was fairly accurate.
Yeah, the guy's shot, in my opinion.
And he threw like 156 punches throughout the whole fight. So,
I don't want to get into conspiracies because I don't want to get into conspiracies. I don't know, but to me, it seems like they told him, "Listen, lose 5 rounds and then or 6, whatever, and then you can try whatever you want." But
right.
Yeah, and I don't even think his corner knew that deal because I think he was just told he was the only one who knew what he had to do because his corner was like they were confused. They were like, "Yeah, you got to throw your hands. You got to let your hands go." He's just quiet there, just not looking at them, looking around. He knew that. But who knows, man? Listen, this is all speculation. It could also be that a guy is completely shot. The guy was on drugs. The guy was in jail or something. Like he wasn't even training for a long time. Sure, he looked like he was in shape, but being in shape is one thing. But losing your reflexes and all that, you don't get that back just all of a sudden. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll say, Bucho, they had a conversation backstage. Amanda Serrano and Jake Paul. And he's like, "What? I mean, what do you mean the fights were fixed?" And she's like, "I had them fixed for you, idiot.
Yeah.
You're not good enough.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't win.
You can't win." Maybe Jake Paul.
I thought I was taking him out.
That's a great point. Maybe Jake Paul doesn't even know what's going on, right? Holy fuck! Yeah,
you could tell that after the fight, Jake Paul wasn't really contented. He was like pissed off. He kept saying, "I'm good. Like I'll face anybody. I'm 28 years old." And by the way, he's pushing 30. So if he's gonna do anything, he's got to do it like right now.
Yeah.
But you can tell that he knows he's not on the level, but he's still trying to make the people think something that he's not. And you know what pisses me off about him really, because we all know it. What he wants to do, he wanted to knock out Mike Tyson, so he can get that aha moment in front of the people. Hey, I knocked out a legend. He wanted to do the same thing to Julio Cesar Chavez. He wanted to humiliate Mexicans. He wanted to humiliate Mexican boxing. But he's pissed off because he couldn't knock out either of those guys. And if you compare him against a fighter that's actually in his prime, active, not a guy that's well into his 60s, and Chavez retired for how many years? He wasn't even really that good, and is 40 now. I mean, how would he fare against those guys?
That's a good question.
That's a good point about him. That's a good point about him pushing 30. And I respect the guy for trying, because he's
taking it serious. He's taking it serious.
He's taking it seriously. Yeah. But I think at some point, maybe after all those knockouts and beating these faded MMA guys, I think he really started believing that, hey, I can actually win a title. And maybe that's why now he's taking it personal when people say he's not ready for it or that he'll never win one, because he's actually started to believe it. And here's the thing, man, like Gonzalo said, that he's pushing 30 now. I know look, 90% of all these guys are taking something. He's got to be on something too. And if he's not getting any quicker, if his stamina is not improving, it's not going to get any better from here on in. This is the best you're going to get. Maybe technique-wise, he will improve. I suspect he will if he keeps on training every day. But it's going to be, to which extent can he improve? What's the window here? What's the most he can improve? And I don't see him doing, even in the barren wasteland that is the cruiserweight division, I don't think he can do much, man. I suspect he's going to fight Masvidal next or some other MMA guy. I don't think he goes after Tommy Fury. And now they're going to go back to the drawing board and find out, well, which they're going to be extra calculated and say, well, who can we beat? The guy keeps saying, I beat 2 professional, because there was one guy he beat, a fat Afro-Anglo guy who was supposedly an undefeated boxer. And then I think the guy had been out of the ring for 2 years or something. And I think, and sometimes he'll go, he won a Golden Gloves champion. He was a Golden Gloves champion. Yeah, which state? Because it's, if you're saying New York Golden Gloves, even now it doesn't carry the same weight it used to. Yeah, but if you South Dakota Golden Gloves, like, well, okay, what does that mean? It's good for you, but it's not exactly world class here. So, yeah, man, I think they're gonna get desperate now. I think they're gonna go for a Masvidal or something like that. I really doubt they put him in there against somebody solid. Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. So, what's next for Jake Paul? Let's speculate here. What? Gonzalo?
What I also noticed that fundamentally, I think he's developed kind of under the style of the Americans, the pop shot. He's not really, he's got power, but he should have developed himself kind of to plant his feet and not throw one single pop shot, 2 shots at a time trying to rip your head off. Because if like we all know, if you don't get the knockout, I mean, your power works until it doesn't. But is he really punching to like, aside from like a few shots to the body, is he really planting his feet and throwing heavy shots consistently to put in the work to break you down to finally like knock you out when he's already like done softening you up? No, he's just basically looking for the opening to throw that big shot, and if he knocks you out because you're old and don't got that good of a chin, or he's lighter, he's heavier than his opponent, well, then he gets a highlight reel knockout. But it's the guys that is his own size, he's not really throwing those shots to really cause damage aside from that big haymaker, that big Deontay Wilder one punch. And he's not even on that level either with the power.
You know what, Gonzalo, you're right, because he should fight someone like Kirkland or Curtis Stevens, right? But he fights like he thinks he's Caleb Plant. He thinks he could, just be slick in there and move around. And you see how low he drops his hands and how exhausted he gets, how quickly. Like, bro, that's not you. You shouldn't be overexerting yourself in a fight because you're too bulky. So, yeah, good point, bro.
Yeah, he's wasting too much energy. He just needs to calm down, learn, kind of like Canelo, be more patient, throw your shots,
and
break it down.
All right, Jake Paul says
the other thing is,
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Butcher, but the other thing is, just real quick, the guy doesn't roll with the shots. He doesn't know how to find on the inside. I mean, you can tell he's green. You can tell it's a guy who's been boxing for 5 years. And again, respect for him for getting into that ring with limited boxing experience. And even though some of these MMA guys are shot, I mean, this is still a guy that 10 years ago wasn't boxing. So it's still, I do give him some credit for that. But there's, like Gonzalo said, there's still a lot of holes in his game. And if he really thinks he's ready for a title shot, when he doesn't even know how to roll with the shots, he's not comfortable on the inside, his stamina is subpar, it's going to be a rough wake-up call for him.
So what's next, and how long can this type of events continue and attract the attention of people?
I mean, in my opinion, when it's going to happen with Jake Paul, I think he's going to fly a little bit too close to the sun, and it's going to get burned like Icarus. I think that was the story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's gonna like lean back and keep doing his social media stuff and keep being a promoter, because I think he's doing a relatively good job when it comes to this card, because they kind of entertaining. And
the card was good.
He gives, it was good.
We're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can tell, like, I think MVP and TKO will be like two leagues that will be like, not necessarily competing with each other, but doing like similar, like shows when it comes to like, guys that don't really have like the chance, and now they like, now they on, like the guys we saw last night, the Julian Rodriguez who beat Bomax dude, looked like one of the Migos.
Julio.
Yeah, Julio Rodriguez.
Julio.
He knocked
He looked like Julio. Oh yeah.
Oh, Gangsta Paradise. Anyway, yeah. So like, I think he's doing a good job when it comes to like, from a promotional company wise. I think he's doing a great job, man. But as a boxer, I don't really think it's gonna go so far. It's gonna fly too close to the sun, and because I think he once he becomes ranked, I think he was hoping to lose. Because I think, that guy on the screen. I think now, since he's became ranked, now he's forced to like fight somebody who's actually good and not really that crazy old. Like, put this in mind. I think a relative journeyman, in that weight division can like whoop his ass.
Well, how do you think he would do against Dorticos?
No, él se muere ahí, está loco. Like, nah, he get killed, man. Like,
he knocked the fuck out, right?
Yeah, hell yeah. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't really think like an old ass like former champion is low enough for him. Like, he's usually like, with guys like either recovering addicts like Mike Tyson and Chavez Jr. Guys like in their 40s, borderline 50s, like the MMA guy, and Silva, Mike Tyson,
Tyron Woodley.
Yeah, all those
Nate
guys.
Robinson, the basketball player.
Man, Tyron Woodley, bro, if he would have, se cae de la cama, motherfucker has like a brain bleed. I mean, give me a fucking break.
He wants to fight Anthony Joshua, apparently. I mean, I don't know what
I think Anthony Joshua it's going to do him worse than he did to Ngannou. I think
Hell
he's
yeah.
going to go to the hospital.
Let's move on to let's move on to Zurdo Ramirez.
One last thing. Didn't you guys see that when he did get hit? Wasn't he tying up?
Yeah,
he was scared. He was getting hurt.
Yeah,
he was getting hurt.
His eyes were wide open after he got hit. He's like, what the fuck? He was shook. And imagine a top cruiserweight hitting him flush like that. Different story.
I mean, that's the crazy thing, BDA. I don't really think it has to be like a top cruiserweight. It could be like a journeyman, you know.
Pucho.
It could be like the Rosados of the cruiserweights, man. I think that dude can knock him out.
Yeah.
All right, enough about this Jake Paul thing. Enough.
Yeah.
Jake Paul. Zurdo Ramirez defeated Uniel Dorticos, unanimous decision. How did you guys see this fight? Some people were saying that Zurdo looks slow. People say that he looks slow. But
I think Zurdo looked good. I think Dorticos is they call him the knockout doctor, whatever. He like 24 knockouts out of 25 wins. He was an older guy, but you know how these Cubans are. They put him in a hyperbolic time chamber.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are good at going to their 60. You know what I mean? So, I think it was a good fight. Dorticos had the momentum early. He was taking the early rounds. But, that was just Zurdochenko downloading the information. And once he did, we entered the matrix. He started sidestepping, slipping punches, tagging him up. Zurdo doesn't have the power that he did at 175 and 168 at cruiserweight. But he has a good chin, and he hits hard enough that he was getting this dude's respect, and he was hurting Dorticos to the point where this guy had a low blow like 3 times in a row. He had to do it like 3 times in a row just to stop himself from getting knocked out. Zurdo was lacing him with the left hands, and he was like snapping his head back, throughout the second half of the fight. So I think he looked good, bro. And I'm telling you, everyone's like, Jaya Pataya. Fuck that.
Okay, we're gonna get to that later. We're gonna get to that. Who wants to go next for their analysis of this fight?
I think he looked all right. I think he pulled it out. He won the fight for me clearly. It was a close fight, but he clearly won. He did start off slow. He looked a little heavy. I mean, he did make 200 just under 200, but he might have been like 215 on that night yesterday. Probably the heaviest he's ever been. You could tell he was a little thick around the waist, and maybe that slowed him down. Maybe that was his plan to come in heavy in order to absorb Dorticos punches, because the other dude does hit hard. But he did a few things in there, like that he displayed movement after throwing, getting out of the way, moving his head out of the line. And Dorticos hits hard, but Zurdo also threw some shots that snapped the opponent's head back, which I thought was pretty interesting. And I thought it was a pretty entertaining fight. Not super fast-paced, but entertaining enough to where there was action back and forth, which I thought it was good. It kept me glued to the screen.
All right, who's next?
I mean, I think Zurdo looked like like he didn't really train for the fight. He looked like he literally rolled off out of his bed and got into the ring and shit. Like you can tell he didn't train for that fight or nothing. I think
how good he is.
The Matrix, the Mexican version.
El Matrix.
You call me
El Matrix, carnal.
Hey, be on the lookout for a Zurdochenko video coming soon.
The guy had love handles. That's a fact. I was like, damn, what the fuck, man?
No, that's my point, though. Like, you can tell, that dude didn't really, train nothing for that fight. I think he actually, because you can tell he was kind of, shocked by Dorticos' power, at the beginning. He was kind of, after he got used to it, after, the 4th or 5th round, it was all she wrote. for Dorticos. Even he got desperate and he started like hitting low and shit. So I think he got a point deducted, didn't he?
Dorticos,
Yeah,
yes.
but look, the thing is, that dude was throwing low blows in the first round. He got like 2 hard warnings in the third one in the second round. He was throwing low blows the whole fight.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, and I think I think he's because the thing is about these cruiserweights. I think these crops or cruiserweights, they're not really that crazy good, and most of them are old. Something that Zurdo Ramirez has among all these cruiserweights is like, one, the stamina, and two, he has the speed among all these guys. Like, even though he doesn't have like the power, he can still freeze these guys like with his snapping shots. And like he's when he can, he's accurate, and he's really dangerous in the inside. And he has like this thing, like he slightly changes an angle. I don't know if he does it on purpose or by accident, but he changes the angle like slightly and roll his head a little bit so he can absorb those punches. Like, he never stays like on the line, unless he could just freestyle by his fucking love handles because el está gordito.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right, so you guys, well, nobody thinks that he looks slow, right? Like, apparently,
he looked a little slow at first.
Okay. I'm just,
like,
the reason. Yeah, I'm bringing it up because of the Opetaya fight. I'm thinking about that fight. Apparently, the Zurdo wants that fight. I don't think he's docking him. He said, like,
Hell no.
get my phone number and all that shit after the fight. But how would that fight play out?
Well, it would be Zurdo would have to be able to keep up with Opetaya's footwork, right? Because Opetaya is like one of those guys that he bounces in and out with his attacks. So Zurdo would have to try to maybe get him to the ropes. I don't know if boxing him in the middle of the ring would be the best choice, because Opetaya does have clearly faster feet, and he uses them often. He uses it to fight. So
you're gonna have to wait for Opetaya.
Zurdo will have to get on the inside, or he would have to try to wear his ass out, get it with some good body shots, and try to drag him into an inside fight.
Yeah, he's gonna have to shell up.
Opetaya does like to fight.
Yeah, no, he's gonna have to shell up and take a lot of shots on those gloves, and then wait for an opportunity or something. I don't think he should be the one starting. Being on the offensive. I think he has to wait, be patient. But I mean, I don't know. To me, he looks pretty slow in this fight. Now, maybe it's because of the opposition. In my opinion, he's not a true cruiserweight. So he's moving a body weight that it's not unnatural for his body frame. But I think he's developed, and I think Tarver mentioned it, that because he's been fighting at 168 and 175, he's better at anticipating quick punches and rolling with them and moving. And these heavier guys obviously haven't faced fast opponents. So he has that advantage. But that's pretty much what he's bringing to the cruiserweight division. That speed.
That can also go away. That can also go away, Bucho, because if you're sitting at cruiserweight for a few fights, that's going to go away, because your memory is not going to and your muscle memory is not going to recall you fighting lighter guys a few years back. It's going to settle into that new weight and lugging that new weight around and sparring, and now you're facing cruiserweights. That's just going to get erased from his boxing memory.
Yeah, it could be. Again, I don't know if you agree with me. I don't think he's a true cruiserweight. Body-wise, I mean, we've seen it. The guy he doesn't look. Compare Opetaya's body with Zurdo's body, and I know it's not a bodybuilding contest, but I'm just saying, he's not a true cruiserweight. His skills are allowing him to defeat these guys, but he still hasn't fought the best cruiserweight right now, or one of the best, which is Opetaya. I want him to win. I just don't know if he can. I'm being honest. But we'll see.
I think you realize now, like against Dorticos, that the power is different at cruiserweight. I mean, yeah, you could keep those things that you were saying if you were sparring little guys like all the time still, but then you're kind of getting used to the movement and not the power of a cruiser. Adapting to cruiser, you got to stay in there with the cruiser and do what the other cruisers do, which is not exactly looking for them to move so quickly where you can stay up with them. Is kind of expect that those heavy shots, and then throw back, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. All right, let's move on because we have so many things to talk about here. Floyd, Schofield, Kid Austin defeated Tevin Farmer in one round. Like I wasn't expecting that. I don't think anybody was expecting this. So, your thoughts, guys, on this fight? Impressed? Were you impressed?
Yeah, sort of. He's just big guy. He's bigger. He looks like a welterweight. What division was this? He's just bigger guy.
Okay, so you're saying that he won because he's just bigger, right?
I mean, he's quick. He's athletic. Don't get me wrong. I've seen some of his training videos. He's young. Kid Austin trains like a beast, and he's muscular, kind of like a Timothy Bradley, but maybe with more power, athletic, quick reflexes. Like I said, once again, and the other guy's just smaller, so quicker, hits harder, and bigger. Yeah, that's gonna happen.
So why couldn't Cepeda do this?
Because Cepeda throws a million pity pats. He hardly ever turns his punches over.
Interesting. A lot of people are bringing this up. Just showing, they're saying this shows how Cepeda is overrated and how good Schofield is. All right. Anybody else? Their thoughts on this fight? Kid Austin. All right.
Yeah, it looks like his dad is starting to become like a pain in the ass. No, his father worse than Devin Haney.
What has
That kind of brings negative attention to him.
Yeah,
Schofield.
I've seen some videos. He's kind of weird, but anyways, my opinion is that I was impressed. I wasn't expecting that. I think Tevin Farmer he put on a good fight against Cepeda the first time. Second fight, I think it wasn't that competitive. I think Cepeda completely dominated Tevin Farmer, and he got caught, and I don't think he ever recovered from that first knockdown. And maybe Tarver wasn't the same. I'm not making excuses, but come on, like this guy, he didn't look that good against Cepeda in the second fight, and then he gets destroyed in one round. I still think. Actually, guys, what do you think about Schofield against Shakur Stevenson?
It's a good fight. It's just Shakur Stevenson's nothing to be impressed. Like how he fights against fighters that got power. You know what he's gonna do, and he's the best at doing that, running.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fighters don't train to chase you around for 12 rounds like that. And Shakur does. Shakur trains specifically for that. So say what you will, when Shakur when he goes into that ring against a dangerous guy, he's got the advantage because he's trained himself to run and avoid the power. Classical Tom and Jerry right there.
All right. Yeah, that would be a boring ass fight. All right, let's move on since nobody wants to say anything about anything else about this fight. Norman Jr. versus Sasaki. Oh, why did I write this? Oh yeah, because we didn't talk about this. Well, that didn't happen on Saturday, but it happened last week. So, your thoughts on this fight?
I was impressed by that knockout. That dude hits hard as fuck. You could tell how he knocked that dude out, how he threw the punch. Dude hits hard.
For people who don't know, I don't know why would you wouldn't know this, but Norman Jr., Brian Norman Jr., 28-0 with 22 knockouts, retained his WBO welterweight title with a brutal fifth-round knockout over Jin Sasaki, the Japanese. That fight took place in Japan, and that means that Norman Jr. retained his IBF and WBA welterweight titles. So, yeah, he's a unified champion. I forgot about that. And so, now apparently he's going to be fighting Devin Haney in November in Saudi Arabia. So I don't know if you guys want to say anything about the Sasaki fight. I mean, it was just Sasaki just got dropped multiple times. He wasn't on Norman Jr.'s level. I'd rather talk about the Haney fight. Your thoughts on the Haney fight, guys?
Oh, hell, also him. I mean, yeah, I hear a lot of people in the comments. Now that the fight got made, giving Devin Haney that he's always taking like the tough fights, but like also him. Look what he did against Jose Carlos Ramirez, a lightweight that got some power, but he's nowhere comparable in size. And this heavy-handed, I believe, in my opinion, is Brian Norman. And look what he did against him. What do you think he's going to do against Brian Norman? Another fucking Tom and Jerry fighter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we thought Haney could do that against Ryan Garcia, right? And look how that ended up, like what ended up happening there. Haney would be fighting at welterweight here. Do you think he can survive 12 rounds against a guy like Brian Norman Jr.?
If he gets on his fucking bicycle.
Well, that's the thing.
I didn't see him have no... Look, this is the thing. He took a beating against Ryan Garcia and against Jose Carlos Ramirez, who's also shot. By the way, Jose Carlos Ramirez is also shot. Devin Haney didn't look confident to me. You can't say that in that fight, he proved to you that he recovered from the Ryan Garcia beating. To me, he still looks like damaged goods. Yeah, he won against another shot fighter, but by fucking walking laterally and just fucking using the ring in its entirety to fucking win a decision, a boring ass decision. And so against a puncher that's coming after him, if he doesn't run, for one, he hasn't shown me that he's confident yet. That's the big question mark. He hasn't proved anything, in my opinion.
Are you saying Haney fought scared in the Jose Ramirez fight?
100%, absolutely.
Interesting. Yeah, that fight, I mean, come on, guys. That fight was boring as fuck. Haney could have done more. There was a lot of people watching that whole card, and this guy, he ruined it for himself. That fight was boring here. People are saying Curiel beats Norman Jr. Maybe. I mean, I don't know about that. But, yeah, okay, so Haney versus Norman Jr., that's going to be an interesting fight. I don't know if it's going to be a main event. That would be interesting to know. All right. What else do we have here? Let me check my notes. Oh, we have Vessel. Vessel, are you there?
Yo, what's up, brother? What's up?
You want to give us your thoughts on Haney and Norman Jr.? That fight's taking place in November.
Man, I've been thinking about that, and I can't tell if it's because Haney's desperate or what's up, or nobody wants to fight this guy. I don't know why he picked this, because this is kind of a dangerous fight.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's because Haney just ran out of options and he needs money. I think he needs money.
Yeah.
Don't ask me why. I just that's what I've been noticing. What I think. We're not gonna get into that, but yeah, there's not a lot of options. He wanted that Teofimo Lopez fight, big payday. It's not happening. So then, what's next? What other options does he have?
He missed
Go
out on
ahead.
2 payments.
You can tell he's hungry for money. I think, I mean, I don't really think he's broke, but I think he's noticing like his coffers, they're running down because, he has like these crazy lavish lifestyle, like, buying protected leaves.
Yep.
Having a OF model, him being such a simp, having like, like supercars and all that, like, man, all the years that you have, all that shit only depreciates over time. And, also, like, he can't stand, like, people, like, just flexing on him and shit like that. Like, him and his obsession with Floyd Mayweather as well. Like, he puts a lot of pressure on himself like he don't really has to. And, because the thing is, since his dad takes most of the attention, we don't really, like, see what he's doing. But if you go to his social media right now, he's still flexing, like, Cash Money, like he's like a 1980s rapper or something. He's always like flaunting like crazy cars and shit like that, going to clubs, buying things to his girlfriend and shit like that. I'm not trying to sound like a stalker, but anyhow, you can tell the dude is like hungry for money. And also, that's like one of the things I mentioned before about him. Ryan Garcia losing the fight. I think after that, bro, I think he would just fucking going crazy because he was going, to be forced to take a hard fight. Because he's gonna be pretty much in weight limbo. Like 144 or some shit, and on 147, he know damn well his food. The best chance he has is like catching this guy, Ryan Norman, that in my opinion he still seems to be a little green. He doesn't really move his head after he punches, but it's not like Devin Haney has like crazy power. And you know.
And then this guy has belts now. Who cares about the belts are important right now because Pacquiao is fighting for a belt against Barrios in July.
Espérate. Does he has a belt or belts?
Belts. It says IBF WBA.
Yeah, he has
Oh,
two.
How did he get two?
What?
First of all, I don't even know.
Wait, but WBA is boots, isn't he?
I think he got it because he dropped him or something. Guys, somebody I don't even know, man.
Boots didn't want to fight him.
No. I think he probably has like a Reggie version of the IBF.
Yeah, maybe.
But
It counts because Boots left, bro.
Oh,
You can look at the rankings.
he was upgrade. He had upgraded.
no,
He
but
was upgraded.
Yeah.
He got upgraded, bro.
Yeah, it's
Really?
IBF
That
WBA.
fast?
Yes, that fast.
damn, because I know Barrios is a WBC, and Boots had
Yeah,
the belt. He had the WBO and he
Shazar
had the
says,
WBA and the.
yeah, Shazar in the chat
What?
says Boots vacated. So that's pretty much it. Brian Norman is a WBO. What? Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. So why? I got this from an article. It says IBF and WBA.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't really think he fought for a belt over Japan.
It's IBF and WBO. I don't know why.
WBO. Maybe I made a mistake. I copy pasted this shit.
'Cause
WBO.
I know Boots is
Oh,
moving
who
up, but I
cares?
don't really think the belt is available just yet.
Well,
Okay, who has the
whatever belt he has
WBA?
or not,
Vessel. Who has the
it's important that He
WBA?
has one. right?
Boots has the WBA. He won it from Stanionis.
But he
He's-
dropped
so
it
he's
now. So
unified.
that's gonna go vacant. Anyways, who cares? Okay, so Norman has IBF. By the way, Vessel, can you boost your volume a little bit? I think it's a bit low.
Does this sound better?
Yeah, I think so. Anyways,
Okay.
So here's the deal, though. Haney, if he beats Norman Jr., he gets some belts, whatever, and then he's in line to fight the winner of Pacquiao Barrios, and everybody wants Pacquiao to win. All these boxers want Pacquiao to win to get that fucking Pacquiao payday. So I think that's Haney's plan. What he's aiming for.
Nah, man. I think, man. Listen. Again, I think since Ryan Garcia lost that fight against Rolly, among all people, right? He got into like a friendly zone because the thing is, he's forced to like take big fights now, and then he's been messing up with the Saudis and things. He don't have, and his dad is catching checks that he can really, he can really catch. He's been forced to pick these fights, and now
Okay.
he's like on, with somebody around his height and weight. Because Brian, to me, he looks like the most natural welterweight I've ever seen. Well, lately, like he looks like a natural welterweight. He doesn't look like crazy big or nothing. In my opinion, he looks more like a mechanic. Like he looks like I got you, man. Give me 50, I'll fix your transmission.
Who?
Like a mechanic. Yeah, no, he does.
That's
By the way, we're talking about this Norman Jr. fight, and so we moved on from the Jake Paul Chavez card, but somebody mentioned in the chat that we didn't talk about the Griffin Rodriguez fight.
That was actually a good fight, man.
Yes.
Yeah, Griffin looked very. I don't even know if it's bad or green. There's a word here. He just looked very bad.
The thing about Griffin, man, is I mean, all those guys were like inactive as shit. I think Griffith, is he rich or something, or he has like a part-time rapper? Cause he was talking hella shit about these people's clothes, and like he has like $20,000 this and $3,000 shades and shit like that.
Yeah.
No,
I think that's like
he
the way
looked
you
like
go
a
broke.
rapper.
You put that shit.
He looked like a rapper.
He looked like he looked like one of the Migos, right?
Yeah, exactly. But that's pretty much it. Boxing skill-wise, I mean, I think that fight was pretty competitive. But he faded, got caught.
Until the end. And I think if you were to go to the scorecards, I think they would have robbed Julio.
Yeah,
he
they
was
had him down one. They
one
had him
round.
down one.
Yeah.
One round.
Yeah, because he scored a knockdown. But the thing is, I don't know, man. He lost so many rounds because I think this dude only won like maybe like 2 or 3 rounds from the beginning, and then he was just getting like bullied in the inside because Julio was just putting his head on this dude's chest and going down, and the overhand right was finding home every single time.
All right, let's
And the
move
thing
on.
is, when you have like so much height and you get caught like by hooks and punches like that, man, like they it spins like their heads in a special way, like you just can't go back.
Yeah,
it's like
that
from
hair was
down up.
terrible. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a
Oh, yeah,
surprisingly
yeah.
good card.
No, but his
aside
head,
from
like you
first
saw
for the main
how
card.
crazy that his head turned.
Yeah, no, he that's brain damage or what do you call it? Short circuit.
Even Julio went to like his corner, like he felt bad. I mean, he showed sportsmanship or whatever, but he also felt kind of bad. Like, damn, I think I fucked this dude up. I think he was on the corner, like, yeah, man, no, man, no, man, no.
Now he's got him sounding like a rapper too. Looking like one, sounding like one.
I mean, he was talking so much shit, man, in the press conferences. That I think he had it coming, man.
It's because he believed in
Yo,
He's like one of those
he had like a
cocky guys like
16 KO
who
streak
are
or something
humble.
like that.
Oh,
Where's,
my bad, Basil.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say because I was on mute for a minute. I did want to talk
It's like
about
he
that.
believed his own hype because he had a 16 KO streak coming into the fight.
Yo, I don't think you can hear Zowers, man.
Yeah, so
Yeah, take me off mute, bro. I'm not snoring anymore, bro. Take me off mute.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, it was me.
No, it was
Who's
me.
sniffing?
But I was gonna say I wanted to talk about that Schofield fight with a Farmer, right?
That's interesting.
Because I had Farmer winning. I gave Farmer. I thought Farmer was gonna be better than Schofield. I didn't have a very high opinion of him after seeing what Hiron almost did to him, and also that weird little incident with Shakur Stevenson, where they had all these stories that they're being poisoned and they're being threatened and they're putting bombs in their cars and they're planting drugs on them, like all kinds of crazy shit, right? Y'all remember all that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so to me, that kind of threw out all the credibility he had because it sounded like some bullshit, right? But I will say this, maybe you should invite Food TV on here, Bucho, because he has been banging on this drum since that whole incident was going on, that fight that was supposed to happen between Stevenson and Schofield. He was saying that he believes that Stevenson's camp really was messing with Schofield's camp, and he would point it out that Shakur Stevenson would say his whole team told him not to sign that fight. People were telling him not to take the fight, and he's like, no, I'm still going to do it. So seeing now the result that he had against Tevin Farmer, it looks like the power is real. Like, if he catches you cold, he's sharp and he's strong enough to knock you the fuck out. And, I don't think it really says anything bad about Zepeda because Zepeda beat the shit out of him. You could say that Zepeda softened him up for Farmer in a way, right? Because he took a beating. He took 24 rounds of punches from one of the hardest punchers in the division. So, yeah, it's not that surprising that a dude who's bigger and stronger than him and sharp, kind of knocked him out. But, but he looked impressive. I don't want to take away from the win. He looked impressive, and and I was just alluding to, like, I would like to see him fight Shakur Stevenson. If Stevenson can get past Zepeda, those two guys need to fight.
Yeah.
Let's see that shit.
And by the way, I just want to say something. When somebody wins in the first round, there's really not much you can say because we don't know what would have happened if he would have went 4 rounds, 5 rounds, 6 rounds. 7, you know what I mean? Because he ended so quickly. Now, you can only give credit to somebody who ends up fighting 1 round, but that's pretty much all you can say. It happened, but yeah.
Like, damn, he hit hard. No, he has power. His power is real.
Yeah, that's all we can say. But to say that he's going to knock out Shakur and Zepeda easily because he knocked out Tarver in 1 round, that's not how it works. Yeah.
Kid Austin.
Kid Austin. I'm trying to get.
Before you say anything else, I was also on the food hype train, by the way, on the Schofield. I think they fucked with him so that he wouldn't fight Shakur. I agree.
I didn't think so at first, but seeing what he did to Farmer, I kind of buy it. Because if he hit Stevenson with that, he would be terrified.
Yeah, there was something funky going on there because if what's the name? Stevenson's camp could have sued them for slander for what they were saying. And knowing that they would have, yeah, they should have done that, right? They're very litigious people.
We have Lion Legal. He wants to jump in and say something. Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
Right, so I observed the fight yesterday with Chavez and, in fact, I was about to say Chavez and Canelo, but Chavez and Paul. And
you love Canelo.
Well, okay, I'm not going to actually address that right now. But as far as Paul and Chavez are concerned, it's a shame that Chavez completely destroyed his legacy, and I've seen a lot of boxers do that, and it shows the sad state that boxing is in, whereby they're prepared to give up their records to a complete miscreant like Jake Paul. The fact of the matter is, if you actually understand boxing and you saw the way that Paul fought yesterday, it is abundantly clear why he will never, ever face serious competition, because first of all, his footwork is not particularly good. He has horrible cardio. His stamina is not great. He doesn't have effective power as well. He was trying to knock his opponent out. The second that he couldn't do so, he wilted and showed that he did not have a particularly good game plan. By the way, every single opponent that he's had, almost every single one that he's faced, he has outweighed them by 50 pounds in the last fight that they had. So they're coming up from welterweight, something of that sort, 160 pounds, 154, coming up to face him, who is and he's a person who walked around at probably 210, 220 pounds. That's the only way that he can win. And again, it just shows that boxing is in a very sad state. So it is clearly a corrupted sport. So he saw the niche and has exploited it. But if he goes near anybody, in fact, I think anybody in the top 100 or like, any serious amateur, any ranked opponent in his weight class will knock him out. I don't just think that they'll beat him on points. I think that they will knock him out cold.
I think we all agree on that. Dorticos, do you think he knocks him out?
What? Are you serious? So like, are you asking me a serious question? Or
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I'm just trying to get more more out of this shit, but we really can't. I mean, I agree with everything you said.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
If that guy faces anybody serious, and he, like, even Badu Jaku has no knockout record to be taken seriously, Badu Jack will knock him out. If he goes up against a top opponent, he has to be very careful, because he could end up in hospital. I think that he will get seriously hurt. I don't just think it'll be a knockout. I think that he may not be able to box again.
Oh, all right. Okay, so moving on from this Jake Paul debacle, circus, I should say.
Shenanigans.
Ada Sheik also apparently named, he wants Virgil Ortiz versus Ennis, Christian and Billy versus Lester Martinez, Moses Aitoma versus Martin Bacoli, and Andy Cruz versus William Cepeda. I mean, Cepeda's already fighting Shakur, so I guess later this year.
I think that's
a problem that Turkey has, is that he pays everybody so much that he's actually disincentivized the boxers from engaging with each other, because they don't want to get knocked out. Even the fact that could completely nix a $20-30 million payday. So Turkey thought he was doing a good thing by paying the boxers a lot, but actually it made them a lot more cautious and conservative and not want to fight each other. And now he's telling Canelo and Crawford that he wants them to engage and to be a lot more aggressive in the ring. First of all, that makes no sense.
So hold on.
Let's be clear.
You don't like the Tom and Jerry comments?
No, I don't, and I'll tell you why. almost everybody who is a professional boxer ends up with significant head trauma. Even
come on, don't give me that shit. Don't give me that shit.
I will give you that. I will give you that.
But they're brains, Bocho.
Wait.
I wanna cry.
Are these people
Medical
doctors
term,
or they're boxers?
If you look at the British Medical Journal on this issue, they said that apart from in the most one-sided contest in boxing, every boxer experiences chronic head trauma in every fight. Apart from the most one-sided fight.
Then don't box. Don't get into boxing. Don't get into boxing. Don't get into boxing. Go work.
The end result of that is
go work in construction.
Police, nigga.
No. I'm not gonna have this.
Memory loss. They have no. It's true.
I agree. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm saying
let him finish. Let him finish, Bucho, and then let me cook his ass.
Okay.
He's gonna cook, bro.
Sorry.
No, you can't cook me because this is science. So you have to be cooking. No. You would have to be cooking science. And like from the sounds of it, it seems that you have a lot more problems going on. But I'm not going to get into that anyway. So the fact of the matter is that they will have memory loss. They would have head trauma, CTE, etc. So you can't tell a boxer not to hit and not get it and avoid engaging if he feels that's the most expedient way for him to get the victory, especially given the fact that he's putting his life on the line and will never be the same again given the sport that he's in. I think it is completely wrong of Turkey Al-Sheikh to do, especially as a man who's never laced up a box of pairing gloves in his life. You have to put yourself in that position before you tell another human being to give away their health. Money is not everything. Money is not health, because at the end of the day, your family members are the ones who will truly feel sad, who will have tears, who will be affected by any damage that you experience. And fine, it's a sport, but nobody can ignore the damage that these people experience at the end of the day.
Why don't they go play tennis then, bro? Go play tennis.
So look, check it out though. You're saying this shit about Turkey Al-Sheikh, saying that he's disgraceful for putting his opinion in there. Hey, bro, some of us think it's disgraceful that they're getting paid tens of millions of dollars. Oh, let me finish though. I'll let you finish. Some of us think it's disgraceful as boxing fans that this dude is footing the bill for all these fights, making these big fights happen that other promoters can't make happen, right? And these boxers are saying thank you by putting. They're not trying to fight. Okay, that whole shit about brain damage and CTE and blah blah blah. If you're that concerned about it, bro, go be a fucking sports physician. Go be a sports scientist, bro. Go watch sports science. Go watch what the doctors do, right? Don't fucking watch boxing if you don't want to see people get hurt, because it's literally called the hurt business, right? You have to pay a pound of flesh to get your check. That's what it is. And to say that people are like, oh, their brains and they're never the same. You're never the same every day when you wake up. You're not the person you were yesterday. You're a day older. You're a day fatter. You know what I'm saying? So you're always changing. You're always a day away from death. All right, we're always a day closer to death.
I agree.
So you can't be saying,
no. Okay,
let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish. So all that shit you're saying about this brain trauma and this and that, bro, like, okay, look, the dude's footing the bill. If he says, bro, if you're gonna fight on my fucking platform, you're not gonna come with that bitch shit, right? And he's not putting a gun to anybody's head and making them fight. They're accepting the terms. They're voluntarily getting in the ring. No one's being. It's not a blood sport where you're being forced to fight, right? So it's not like that. So you cannot say like, oh, it's disgraceful, whatever. Bro, what these fighters are doing is fucking bullshit, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Great.
I mean, here's the thing, though. I think a lot of people.
No. Hold on.
Let me finish that way. Let me finish off with this, right? The whole time Jerry shit. Hold on. Let me finish off with this. Hold on. Look, the whole time Jerry shit, he wasn't saying it to Canelo and Crawford. He was saying it to Crawford. He was saying it to Crawford, bro. Okay, you know what I'm saying? You don't gotta say that shit to Canelo.
I got it.
You don't gotta say that shit to Canelo, bro.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right.
Okay, wait. No. Wait, shut the fuck up, bro. Shut the fuck up for a second, bro. Because we let you go on your Gators rant. We even heard you out. We even heard you out when you were crying about Charlo when he was gonna knock out Canelo, right? We remember that shit. We remember that shit.
Guys, hold on. No, I want to hear. Let's hear Lion, because I want to say something else. Go ahead, Lion.
Okay, that was
Charlo sucks. I'm now done.
And your argument shows how disgraceful a person you are to use such language. But anyway, going back to the point of the argument, the fact of the matter is that for you to say that if you want to avoid engaging in boxing, you should be a doctor or something of that sort, then you could use that argument for any dangerous sport. You could say that if an F1 driver doesn't want to lose their life, they should, rather than have more.
Okay, no, Lion, I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna stop you. Oh, no, hold on, Lion. I gotta go in here. Lion, you're comparing a sport where the whole point is to knock your opponent out. F1, you're not supposed to destroy your opponents or destroy yourself.
Does that mean they have to die? Does that mean they have to die?
No, okay, but Lion, if you are concerned about boxers, hold on, Lion, let me finish. Let me talk. I haven't talked. If you are concerned about boxers, then you should be trying to. Supporting the idea of boxing with 14-ounce gloves and headgear. Because if all you want to see is boxing skills, moving around and jabbing and all of that, then you should be, advocating for that. You should be advocating for 14-ounce gloves and headgear. All right?
No. And I'll tell you why. The fact of the matter is that Turkey Al-Sheikh is paying these people the kind of money which 99.9% of people on planet Earth could only dream of. So he's effectively changing their life from fight to fight. This is how much financial compensation he's giving them to do something. What does that mean? It means that he has inordinate influence over them. So if a boxer who is an expert in his field, who is a proponent of the skills which are hit and don't get hit, effectively decides that he's not going to stay there, get punched in the face, go into a incredibly competitive fight, but would rather try to avoid getting punched, I think that is completely acceptable given the fact that he's risking his life and he doesn't have to give away his dignity and give away the ability to protect himself in order to do so just because somebody is paying you. Because I
get the point. I got the point. William Skull does not have any dignity. William Skull does not have any dignity the way he fought. No dignity at all, and that is not hit and not hit. That is just basically run. Shakur Stevenson, the same thing. The reason why they get away with it is because the judges don't give a shit. The referees don't apply any fucking rules. So that's what happened. We end up with these guys that have no dignity. That is no dignity.
If you really want them to engage more, then you have to effectively change the rules. But as the rules stand, what they're doing, no, excuse me. As the rules stand, what they're doing is completely acceptable because the rules state that you can do so, and the referee is the ultimate decider as to if you've broken the rule inside the ring or not. And they have not been penalized. So unless there's a change in the rules which state that they will be
it's about the application. It's about the application of the rules. It's about application of the rules.
Point taken away from them unless they engage, unless they show aggression. So there is no rule saying that, so they're allowed to do that. Anyway, that is the last thing
they're allowed to do that.
Can I talk?
Okay, he's wrong. He's going away. They're allowed to do that. Yeah, but the Sheik is allowed not to pay these guys. The Sheik is allowed not to pay these guys. The fans are allowed not to see these guys anymore.
Watch it.
And
Mucho.
Yeah.
They sign a contract. Everyone signs a waiver. Even if you're an amateur, bro, you sign a waiver. You know what the fuck you're getting into when you jump in the ring, bro. Everybody does.
It comes with a lifestyle, bro.
If you're concerned about their health, why don't you fucking wrap them up in balloons and get them sock and boppers. Take off the boxing gloves and put big ass balloons on there, so they won't catch as much CTE. Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
These guys should be fighting with 16-ounce gloves and headgear. If all we want to see is boxing, if all this guy wants to see is boxing skills, then do that.
He should be just watching the Olympics.
Advocate for that shit.
I think
6 rounds.
But here's the thing, Bucho. I think that's like one of those things, like, people get out of context, and he's like one of them. I don't really think I think he's talking about, like, if they're gonna be chained, like, on the front foot and they're forced to die, like, I don't know if you guys ever done the drill, like, you put like your front foot on a tire.
Yeah.
Opponent, just to, like,
that's crazy.
I think he's talking about it like that, like, whoever, like, el maldito idiota ese, like, whoever, like, he is, like, bro, that's not the way, like, Al-Sheikh is talking about. It's like, if you do that shit, that boring ass shit, running around like Devin Haney when you're not supposed to, not you're not supposed to, but you don't really have to, you know, the boring ass shit. Okay, you can do it, but you're not gonna be invited on my shows again. That's like, I think that's what he was referring to, you know, because the thing is, and I think I brought this on a lot of live, is like, what that has to do with anything, because a lot of guys can engage and avoid a lot of punches. Like, for example, Manny Pacquiao, he was not known because of, you know, he was a defensive wizard, but hardly you remember him having, like, you know, like dark, like purple eyes and, like, you know, a whole bunch of scratches on his face, because he knew how to engage when in close quarters, you know. But these guys, they don't know how to do it, and they get frustrated, you know, when you call them out in the bullshit, like, you know, like, oh no, you fans don't know what the fuck you're watching. Yeah, we know what we're watching. We know it's just boring.
Defending is defending the punch. It's defending a punch coming at you.
Yeah, but these motherfuckers, the thing is, none of these motherfuckers, they know how to roll with the punches.
These people always say
they don't know how to move their heads,
but they never mention Bivol. Bivol is probably the best defensive fighter there is right now.
Their defense is staying out of range. Staying out of range. That's defense. That's not defense. Like, anybody can stay out of range.
That's not defense. That's not boxing.
Skull did it. Skull did it for 12 rounds.
I mean, this guy. I mean, one of the reasons why the Turki Al-Sheikh started talking about Tom and Jerry fights, it's because of the Skull Canelo fight. Skull ran. And this other guy, Lion, is talking about dignity. I mean, let's talk about dignity. What the fuck was that? I mean, does Skull have any dignity? Any?
The thing is, Butcher, he wanted to talk, you know, with a higher arc. You know, he wanted to try to sound smart with all these, like, big words and shit. Like, you know, like, bruh, this is the boxing business. You see a lot of guys leaving the sports, you know, with all their faculties, like Tommy Hearns, what's his name, Ray Lerner. Marvin Hagler, and they took all type of punches. So, like, I don't know what this was talking about.
He was commentating the Jake Paul fight yesterday. He sounded extremely well.
Yeah, like, I mean, come on, man. Like, they took all type of punches.
I mean, Chavez Sr. looks pretty well, and this guy, I mean, everybody thought, oh, he took so many punches. Although he had an amazing defense. People who, but still, I mean, later in his career, you know, he was getting stopped by Costas Zoo and shit like that. But still, I mean, that guy, he's articulate. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and this dude is talking about, like, every single box is,
they're all dying. They're all retarded or something. And by the way, I mean, these people chose this profession. So, and again, if you are concerned about their health, and if you just want to enjoy a boxing fight and then with no knockouts and anything like that, again, then advocate for fights with 16-ounce gloves, headgear, and 6 rounds. So they don't have to, like, endure 12 rounds.
Go watch the Pan Am games, dog. Like, just go watch the Pan Am games and shit. Like, come on.
Ridiculous.
Even then, they wear, like, 12-ounce gloves or some shit. Like, I mean, come on.
These people are, and the reason why they're against these comments, so the Tom and Jerry comments, they disagree with that. The reason why is because they want to defend their boxers who run around the ring, like Shakur Stevenson.
I mean, it's a little bit of that, and also I think it's a little bit of, you know, if somebody's getting mad, I'm getting mad as well. So, like, it's a little bit of that as well. Like, I don't really think they understand, like, the contest, you know, because I think and I think somebody mentioned this before. Like, these guys from these Arab countries, like, their sarcasm and, like, the way they speak. Sometimes they get out of context just the way they express themselves. Mm-hmm. Like, when they laugh, there's actually, you know, they want to whoop your ass. When they kind of aggressive, they're trying to be polite. And I think, like, people took that shit out of context. I think he just was talking about, like, hey, if you're going to be in my shows, you better be entertaining, okay? Yeah. I'm already losing money. I don't give a shit about losing money, but come on, dude. I'm already paying everything, and this is the best you can show me, man.
Yeah, no, you can move around and stuff. Like, somebody like Dr. Mofongo here in the chat says the running versus defense argument is not that hard. Running is when you do not engage. Exactly. It's that simple. Ali used the ring and defense, but he engaged. Exactly. Go look at Muhammad Ali. He was moving around, but he was throwing punches. You know, there's a difference between that and how Skull fights and how Shakur fights a lot of times.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though. And thank you for to mention Ali, because the thing is, they always want to say, like, yeah, but Ali used to dance around the ring. Yeah, he used to dance around the ring, not run around the ring. And if you go back to any of his fights, they used to be highly entertaining, because one of the things he used to do, he was, like, you know, like, floating around the ring, but he was just, you know, he's wearing his footwork and shit, but also he was, like, throwing jabs. He was actually in range, because he was trying to do the same shit with Frazier, and what happened?
Okay, that's a story, another story. But listen, Ali was moving around throwing punches. Yeah, that's it. So,
well, this is the thing that Lion Legal was doing, right? He was trying to associate, like you're saying, like footwork and blocking punches. Just because someone says, "Hey, man, no more running, dude. You guys got to fight." It doesn't mean you have to have no defense. It doesn't mean you can't box. You get what I'm saying?
Because
the only line of defense these people have is their legs.
Exactly. No, but that's it. You got it. For them, defense is just moving around the ring, using your legs all the time. You can stand your ground and be defensive.
People forget that you can parry a punch. Isn't that crazy?
People forget, man.
No, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Like these dudes that
punch,
like if you see this,
you can roll a punch, you can go under it. There's many ways to dodge a punch.
No, that's the thing. Like these dudes from nowadays, man, they don't know how to fucking roll a punch. They don't know how to. They don't know how to like block a punch properly. They don't know how to. They don't know how to do like most defensive things. They don't know how to move their heads. Because when you see even though they're throwing one punch at a time, you might think at least they're moving their heads. No, they're not moving shit. That's why these guys once somebody hit them, they start running because they know they don't have shit on defense. If you go back to, for example, Shakur Stevenson and the fight we have with the Marine, if you put that fight in slow motion, you see he's not doing really nothing,
Mm-hmm.
And when that guy decided to throw his left, he wasn't missing. Whenever he let his hands go, he wasn't missing on Shakur. This quote-unquote defensive wizard.
Bro, Padley, an electrician on a 2-week camp, was able to rock Shakur.
Yeah. Hey, we have a comment here from J Cool 05. He says Mexicans have slow feet. That's why y'all complain about running so much. I bet you think Floyd ran from Canelo.
Yeah, but
That's
I don't really think it's
racist.
because slow feet, man.
That's just straight up racist. What is it?
Yeah, no. I mean, but he picks the Floyd fight very, very. But go watch Crawford Postol. Go watch Shakur Stevenson against De Los Santos. Go watch William Skull.
Shakur Stevenson against
Nakatila, yeah. How many Shakur fights have we seen that he's running away? So yeah, you pick Floyd Canelo, but man, hold. I mean,
Shakur Stevenson in the later rounds against Valdez.
I mean, Haney, when he Cambosos, he was on the back foot and then he clinched a million times. This is another issue, though, the clinching. I hope Turkey Al-Sheikh addresses this excessive clinching. I mean, clinching is illegal to begin with. Yeah.
I don't want people hugging in the ring. No, I don't want this gay shit.
I don't want the homo shit.
Yeah. If I see you hugging or running in my ring, you're going to get whooped. And in Saudi Arabia, they don't
Exactly.
mind.
20 lashes.
No homo thugs out here, bro. What? I want to say.
Nah, here's the thing, though. I think since he saw like the Haney shit, I think these Saudis, they feel some type of way. Because the thing is, I think he said he thought to himself like, okay, in America, just scamming people is kind of cool, but where I'm from is not cool, man. Like you can be beheaded. If you wouldn't be like, somebody like in Puerto Rico, not necessarily like in my country, I would have like slashed you like a fucking slash you like a pizza.
He needs to threaten these guys. He needs to go beyond.
And I think like and here's the thing though. These guys being from a whole different culture and shit, they can see how like these Americans behave with all the like all this crying, all this complaining, give me this, give me that. If you don't do this, all these type of stipulations, and and I think he's getting now like, okay, I'm paying, I'm following all these guys' orders, I'm humiliating myself for these mayates, and I always get the short end of the stick, I pay a lot of money for these guys, and they don't really being entertaining.
Yeah, but these guys still think it's a BBC. You can do whatever you want. You can. It's a kindergarten or something.
Pero mira lo que le pasó al PBC. Well, what happened to the PBC?
Yeah, exactly. It's dead. So, no, Turkey is running a serious... Guys, people understand, Turkey is running a serious business. And these boxers have been used to 10 years or more of bullshit, man. Mismanagement.
of scamming. Look at Devin Haney and all those millions he's able to make of like his boring ass on.
Yep. No,
He actually being able to scam like
authority here.
Yeah, he's been able to scam a lot of people, and kudos to him. He was able to scam Top Rank. He was able to scam Eddie Hearn for the longest.
Yeah. No more. Turkey says no more.
Maybe that's why he can't get fights. I think people are just tired of his shit, bro.
It's true though, but that's the thing though. Like, okay, let's go. Yeah, let's stick with Devin Haney here. People were asking themselves, why is he fighting Brian Norman Jr.? That's a tough fight. Well, what else is there left at this point?
Porque está obligado. He's forced.
Yep.
He's forced
this is Ducha, by the way. But,
my bad.
No, but
it's what I be, man.
That's the thing though. Haney, like, he doesn't have that many options, and it's not like all these fighters they want to fight Devin Haney. They're looking for that Haney payday. He doesn't bring that much attention. Why? Because we know how he fights.
Again, I think now, what's his name? Eddie Hearn's words, they sound kind of prophetic now about Devin Haney. Like, yo, if you don't have a belt, the only thing that you bring in into the table, if you don't have a belt, you only bring in you owe, because you don't bring in entertaining, you don't bring in really money when it comes to audience. Nobody buys you shitty ass pay-per-views. And he's always complaining about like the opponents because they never get paid like the way they're supposed to, and they always have to get like pay cuts. So like who really wants to like get this guy like on your stable like for long, man? Imagine having like a 5-year contract with these dudes, man. I mean,
make you
crazy.
look bad by just running the whole fight.
But here's the thing: every relationship that I had with every single promoter, it ended up being sour at the end.
Yeah. I think they overvalue themselves. They think that this is still the Floyd Mayweather era. You can be a African American boxer with a 0, and that's all you need for success. No, that's not what you need for success. You're looking at it the wrong way here. I mean, yes, it worked with Floyd, but it wasn't only because he was African American and had an undefeated record. It was the fact that he fought Hispanic fighters that had a lot of backing and popularity. He fought De La Hoya, he fought Miguel Cotto, and then he fought like other lesser Hispanics, but they were, they still had that, that Hispanic backing. And there was always that potential Pacquiao fight. There was that potential Pacquiao fight that was looming ahead, and he got people interested in Floyd. So that worked for Floyd, but it's not going to work for every fighter that has a 0. Like, you gotta actually put on entertaining fights. And Haney, thinks he can pull it off. He won't.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. Like Floyd, at the very least, he was daring to be great. He never dodged a rematch either. If people thought like that the fight was close or something like that, like he would take an immediate rematch, like he did to Maidana and whoever. But
also, I mean, say whatever
that's the thing, man. Like these dudes, they want to be Mayweather, but as much as as a rat that he was and PD user that he was, he was legit. He was legit, man. And he actually jumped like weight classes to fight De La Hoya too.
Mm-hmm.
Like he actually did what these guys claim to do. But the thing is, these dudes, they just want to scam people. At the very least, one thing that he did great was taking advantage of the lack of heavyweight in that era with the Klitschko's.
Yeah. I'm just reading some comments here. All right. So anyways, we have Recognize here. Recognize, you want to jump in? We're talking about Devin Haney now. Well, we're talking about the comments that the Sheik made about he doesn't want any more Tom and Jerry fights. And, we had somebody jump in here. I don't know if you remember Lion Legal, the lawyer, right? Who was saying that he was against these type of comments because it's going to force boxers to fight out of their element, and that could be dangerous because boxing is a dangerous sport, and there's so many studies that show how many boxers end up with brain damage. I don't know what the fuck else he was saying, but Recognize, give us your thoughts on what the Sheik said and the detractors.
Yeah, so what Sheik said, you can interpret it any way you want. but reality is boxing is it's a give and take, right? The guy with the better defense usually and better condition, he usually ends up winning the fight. What he's saying is he doesn't want to see these boring fights where a guy is trying to avoid confrontation throughout the fight. He wants to run around, tap, run around, tap, run around, or hold maybe. Who wants to see boxing like that? That's the way I interpret it, right? So, if you've been watching boxing long enough, everybody knows that you can fight off the back foot, okay, and be slick with it and make it entertaining and engage in a fight, okay? There's a lot of things you could do. You could feint going backwards, get your opponent to come in, catch him with a good shot. What these guys are saying is, no. If he taps and runs, he won the fight. And let's keep it that way. But who wants to see fights like that? Not even Terence Crawford, right? When him and Canelo were going, tit for tat on the press conference, well, Crawford kind of alluded like, I'm not going to run. I'm going to stand right there and fight. And that's how he fights anyway, really. It's only one fight where I saw him sort of back-footed, and that was against Posto. And that was a long time ago. So what's the problem?
Well, what's the problem? Why do you think some people disagree with the Sheik? And they take this very personal. They no, how dare he tell boxers how to box? No, they're going to do brain damage. What do you think about that? Oh, no. Sorry. Let me ask you, why do you think they disagree with the Sheik?
Well, okay, let's go back to this whole concern about fighter safety. They don't care about that. So many people expose this shit. Like, there's a lot of other ways you can hurt somebody in the ring. When you're fighting dirty and you're breaking the rules, that's one way, especially with rabbit punches, below the belt, shit like that, elbows, all that stuff. And a lot of times their favorite fighters do this shit and they don't care. So the fighting safety thing that's an excuse. That's like them virtue signaling when it comes to boxing. Look how I care about. Yeah, look how I care about fighter safety and I don't want them to engage in real boxing, in other words, right? And so, in real boxing, it's pretty simple. It's like, yeah, do more damage than the guy's doing to you. Try to avoid damage, but you're in the ring to box, to punch. That's the name of the game. To win on points or to win by any means, right? Within the rules of boxing, that's your goal. If you can stop a fighter, you stop him. If you gotta out punch him, you out punch him. How do you out punch an opponent? Most of the time, you got to be engaging in punching. Nobody wants to see a guy tap and run or hold and clinch and
it's called hit and not get hit. That's what the guy said. It's called hit and not get hit. So apparently he thinks that you can win the fight with throwing as few punches as possible and just moving around.
I mean, who hits throughout a whole fight and not get hit?
Somebody that's running,
right? Like nobody does that unless you're running, right?
Exactly.
Unless you're fucking running.
Yeah, no.
And so I think people that have a problem with it, they're basically saying that their favorite fighters, the guys they root for whatever reason, fight in that negative fashion, and they cannot. They wouldn't be able to withhold, standing in there and really engaging in a boxing fight. They don't feel confident that their favorite fighters.
That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what I wanted to hear. These guys, they're just protecting their fighters. They think that their fighters cannot win a fight if they're not running around the ring. They don't care about an exciting fight. They don't care about growing the sport, in attracting more fans so that the sport grows. They don't care about that. All they care about is that their fighter gets that W at the end of the day, no matter how they get it. Even if they stink out the joint, even if that hurts the sport of boxing, they don't care about that.
Right, because they're not boxing fans. They're like they're not even fans of the guys that they're going for to win the fight. They're not even a fan of those guys because they don't spend no money to watch their fights. A lot of times, they just like want to get on the internet. They just want to get on the internet and tell you how that fighter is a great fighter and his style is what pure boxing is all about. When it's really not,
No,
man.
but
it's like Severino, sorry, I have to jump in here because there's this guy Will Be Done who thinks Recognize is black, and now he's saying Recognize, you weak as fuck, bro. You're the reason why people think blacks are subservient. Fight with your words. I don't know what the fuck.
Uncle Tom, bro.
I didn't even say black.
Uncle Tom Recognize.
I never said nothing about black people. I never said nothing about them. I just talk about a certain style of fighting. And right away, this guy jumps into black.
It's a race thing. Recognize. Let's be honest. It's what it is, bro.
Right. And the bottom line is that if you look at you could go not too far, even right, go like into the fucking 90s. There was a lot of black fighters that were making a lot of money, getting a lot of headways, and they fought in the traditional boxing style where they engaged in fighting and they depended on their real defense of boxing. Real defense.
Recognize. I was just mentioning this earlier. Fucking Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns. Fucking
are legendary fighters because here's the thing about them. These guys are goats because if you match them up throughout the history of boxing, right? I'm not saying every time, but if you match them up and you took their style of fighting and what they can do, they match up with all the great fighters just as fine. They beat some of them, they lose to some of them, but they're right there in that conversation. Okay. And these are all-time greats. So people are like, oh, you like to bring up fighters that don't matter. No, these are guys that will always be mentioned as all-time greats. Sugar Ray Leonard is an all-time great yesterday, today, and in the future. That will never change. He will always be an all-time great fighter. Marvin Hagler.
What you're saying is that he had the fundamentals down. He had the basics of what makes fighting a good boxer down. All these people did. And that never changes as long as boxing stays the same, the rules stay the same. If you have the fundamental downs, you're going to be a good boxer today, tomorrow, and forever.
All right, guys, we have a comment here. That from J. Cool, who says, who are all these runners that you're talking about? Tank, Boots, Gary Russell, Norman, Crawford. Are all these guys runners?
Well, I wouldn't say
none of them.
I wouldn't say Crawford.
I don't know what's the point of that. No.
Yeah, I don't know what the point is of that. Crawford is not a runner.
You're just saying, look at all these black fighters that don't run. That's what
exactly. I think that's the point. You don't get it. We're talking about the runners. The runners.
I'm not saying necessarily this black fighter or that black fighter.
Sonny Edwards was a runner.
Yeah, I don't like him.
No power.
I don't want to watch him fight. Yeah, no power.
Sando Marion was a runner.
I barely like Paulie Malignaggi, and he wasn't really a runner. He wasn't really a runner, but he had no pop in his game. He was a finesse fighter, and that's why he'll go down middle of the road type of fighter. He's not an all-time great. He's probably not even a Hall of Famer, which any boxer could get into the Hall of Fame these days. He's just that average, maybe a little bit above average because of accomplishments type of fighter. And he's not a runner, but he's just not blessed with power.
Yeah.
In a sport called boxing.
So why is this guy? Why are these people saying, oh, look at these black boxers that are not running? Like they think that we're saying all blacks run. That's stupid. That's stupid. I mean, Recognize just mentioned a bunch of boxers that didn't run in the past and they were punchers. So that's ridiculous. Of course not. The thing is, we are criticizing the boxers that do run. That's it.
Yeah.
But you guys want to defend the runners because you think it's a black versus this, it's like a black versus everybody else thing. No, it's not about that. It's about preserving the integrity of the sport.
If you're one of those that think it's all about when you say runners, it's black fighters, and you root for Deontay Wilder. Why don't you tell Deontay Wilder to run? Tell him.
Yeah.
Say, hey, man, you ever thought about getting on your back foot and just run? Watch him laugh at you like he doesn't know what the fuck you're talking about.
No, he can't. No, it's a machine. How dare he would never run. No, it's true though. They would never ask that. They never did. For obvious reasons. But yeah, no, again, the people who criticize Shakur, His Excellency, they do that because they see this as a black versus everybody else thing, and they think His Excellency is attacking black boxers. He's not. He's attacking the runners. Only the runners.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to chime in on this, or shall we move on?
Yeah, I'm gonna say something. Give some likes. How's there 100 people watching and only 30 likes, guys? What the fuck?
That's disgusting, people. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Takes 2 seconds.
For every like, I want to give one cookie to recognize.
That's right. By the way, if you want to join, if you disagree with us, please join us via the link that I'm posting in the chat. If you disagree with us, only if you disagree.
And tell me how you care about fighter safety and you think the best option is for him to run throughout throughout a fight. How about he doesn't
coming up here? You better be coming up here to argue. We need none of that ass kissing, dick riding shit, okay?
That's right. And how about like following the rules of boxing? There's a reason why the rules exist. And if you fight within the rules, more than likely you might get your ass beat still. More than likely you're gonna come out fine. You're gonna be all right.
Is there a rule that says that you can't run?
Yeah, it's called stalling.
Oh no, you can run and then
you can run. That's the rule
against not engaging.
Okay, let me give you an example. When Miguel Cotto, who could have finished that fight against Pacquiao, when he just kept running and running, and it was obvious that he wasn't there to win anymore. In 50 seconds left of the fucking fight, the referee said, "Look, bro, you had enough. Fight's over. So you could do what you want." But the referee could just be like, enforce the rules or use his discretion and say, "I don't think you want to fight. I'm calling this a TKO." I don't think you want to fight
about that. That's true.
Yeah, I personally, back in the days, they used to stop these fights and give it to the guy who was pursuing the fight, and the runner lost the fight, obviously, but it wasn't called a TKO. It was a referee's decision, meaning he won on a referee's decision. They used to do this all the time.
I was just going to add on to it saying running is against the rules. It's called stalling the fight. You can't. You're not allowed to stall the action.
Right. Right. If you're a staller, you're giving up. What you're doing is you're giving up ground, and therefore you are losing the fight.
Makes sense to me.
Okay, because if you did this in a street fight, what would happen? Everybody would be like, "Yo, stop running! What are you running like a bitch for?" Okay, and don't tell me that street fighting, when two guys are throwing punches at each other, okay, there's a lot of fights where in the streets these guys are using their hands. That's it. Okay, and sometimes you'll see a guy running, and what the crowd starts saying, "Why the fuck you running for? Why are you running?"
Yeah, they'll say, "Get the fuck out of here, man! If you don't want to fight, get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. You don't want to fight.
I'm sorry. Recognize you should know how to cut the ring off. You should. You should know how to pin a fighter down, right?
Right, and you're not really even you're not even a race fan, because for every race that's doing that today, right? And it may be one race over the other that's doing it more. There's plenty of examples where there's guys that don't do that. They don't do that shit. They fight within the sport of boxing, within the rules of boxing. They're trying to score points within the rules of boxing to win the fight.
Exactly.
Just to
giving up ground and not doing shit. It's not a way. It's not a real way to win a fight.
It's not a way to win a fight.
Yeah.
Just to recap here, we've opened up the phone lines. So in case anybody wants to call in, give us your thoughts on what the fellas are talking about, make sure to do that. Make sure to do that right now. Phone number's right there on the top, the middle portion of your screen. And the left-hand portion, too. Left and middle portion. Why not?
There is a phone number. You can't fucking miss it. It's big as fuck. So call in. Especially if you disagree. Call me.
Did you guys talk about the Haney-Norman thing?
Yeah, give us your thoughts.
Yes.
Are they fighting?
You know what? If I do
It's
a show tomorrow, I'll talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, we just...
it's an interesting fight. I'm not even convinced it happens, by the way.
Well,
yeah, that doesn't seem like a fight that the Haney's genuinely wants, right?
So
because I didn't see the Sasaki fight. I saw the highlights with the Sasaki fight, and not even that. I just saw the knockout, and once I saw the knockout, I was like, bro, I don't want to see anything else. That shit was brutal, the way his head snapped off the ground.
But now, with that being said, Sobers, do you want to see it happen?
Oh, hell yeah. I want to see a dude, ATL stand up, bro. I want to see fucking Ryan Norman knock that fucking lame-ass little back foot bitch out.
All right, you're from Georgia.
You're going to see Sobers in the corner and shit.
Georgia.
I remember I used to see his pop. I remember his pops used to be in the gym at the same time as me, right? You know what I mean? Sometimes we would share the bag. I'm just playing. No, but I would see his pops in the No, but I would see his pops in the gym, right? So I think it's cool seeing his son become a champion, you know?
You taught him a couple of tricks, huh?
I taught everything he knew, basically.
Sober's gonna walk him out.
I heard that.
Sober's gonna walk him out.
I want to thank Never Sobers. Yeah. After
without him, none of this was possible.
None of this was without Sobers.
You know what it's like? It's like
he's gonna have Never Sobers on his trunk. He's gonna have Never Sobers name in his trunks. You know?
Hell yeah.
Never Sobers is it's Norman's first trainer. He's watching on TV, and Norman's like, I just want to thank the man who made all of this possible. And you see that the guy's like smiling and everything, and then he goes, I want to thank Never Sobers. Yeah, it's like Rocky 5. It's like in Rocky 5 when Rocky thinks he's gonna thank you, and it's gonna be
Al Heyman. Wait, what?
Hey, the phone lines are open. Call in. I just posted the phone number in the chat. Too.
I mean, listen, Brian Norman, like he's been in his last couple of fights, especially the last one. He beats Devin Haney.
I think so, man. Hey, by the way, who else is rooting for Hamza Shiraz against Berlanga?
Me.
I'm going Bernalias in that fight.
I'm going for. I don't think he's gonna win, but I'm going for Shiraz.
What's your problem with Puerto Ricans? Recognize you're self-hating Puerto Rican.
There can only be one. Rican.
I don't like him.
Yeah, I understand. That guy he looks like an asshole.
Yeah, I want to see him, but I think he's gonna win.
I think so too.
Well, I think he should win. I don't know, but let's see.
Yeah, we'll see. That's an interesting fight. That's the main event. Remember, guys, it's not Shakur Stevenson against Cepeda. It's Shiraz against.
You see, there's another runner, right, who clearly ran from De Los Santos. Clearly ran from him. I mean, like, bro, you couldn't even. Dude, you could have been like, yo, what do you. If I was a referee, you should have been like, yo, you want to fight or you want me to stop this? Like, what is this shit?
Well,
yeah.
Recognize you say you were rooting for Shiraz. May I remind you, September 11, 2001? Or have you forgotten about that already?
Yeah, I hope he ends it something like that.
Ah, come on. Wait,
he's gonna hit him with a twin shot.
Oh shit! You're right. The whole is that fight in New York?
That's right.
Yeah. Oh shit!
Yeah, it is.
And then with the mayor and all that shit. Oh, it's getting Sharia law after that, man. So yeah.
Hey, not for nothing,
kidding.
man, but those Republicans really made a lot of Republicans made themselves look bad after that guy won. They're like, okay, this is the beginning of the end. I'm thinking, could you be a little bit more of an alarmist? Could you be a little bit more of an alarmist? You know, it's like fucking.
It's over.
People are funny.
Like, it's been over for a while now. I don't know if the people have been following. It's been over for a while. Like,
you know how they talk about liberal tears and they're exactly the same, bro. They do the same shit, man. They little crybaby.
Anyways.
By the way, speaking of politics, just real quick,
Yeah.
you guys know who Luke Thomas is? He's one of those neckbeards, MMA Hour, I think it's called. Him and another fat guy with a beard. Yeah, okay. I'm browsing one of my YouTube accounts. Well, not a YouTube account, but I got a different browser, and they do, even if you're not logged in, they give you recommended shit. This dude, Luke Thomas now, or whatever his name is, he's got a new show called LGT, like Luke on Politics or something like that. I'm thinking, what? So is he just tired of the MMA grift and now he's grifting over to the political side, or what's that about?
Yeah.
It's freaking weird. Imagine you see Elisek back there at one point.
Oh my God. I think we know who's going to support World War III.
I'm tired of the Muslims. I'm tired of the Muslims. They're all over the place.
Elise back reporting from Israel here.
Rackheads. These fucking rackheads.
I want to fight the Ayatollah one-on-one.
I could kick his ass. Like he really thinks he could kick Mario Lopez's ass. This guy's delusional.
Dude.
Mario Lopez would body that.
Yo, Mario Lopez kills this guy, man. Come on.
He would Holocaust
Mario
him.
Lopez is going. What?
He'll take a piece of his little Jew head.
Oh, come on.
He was his little Jew hat.
Recognize that necessary, man. Come on. What's the matter with you?
Oh, that's it. Who's ass? Who? He'll take it. Who's ass?
He's gonna take his little bag of gold. They all have.
I want to fighting. He wants to set up a ring in Gaza.
Winner takes over Gaza.
I mean, when is it that Shiraz Berlanga's fight? Isn't it in September?
Not this Saturday. Not this Saturday. The next.
Yeah.
The 12th of July.
2 weeks, brother.
BDA, you give us your thoughts on.
I mean, let's see, like, you know, what Shakur does. You know, he be talking hella shit over social media. You know, like he's gonna beat this guy's ass, and you know, he's gonna be in close quarter with him, and you know, he's being all over social media talking his shit. So you know, and it's actually working for me because I think he's gonna try. I think he's gonna try hard. You know, I think he should because Cepeda is a little bit of a slapper. I think he should, but I don't know. I think that's like the only hope he has. Like if he catch Cepeda with something crazy, which I doubt it. You know, his brittle ass hands and you know the way he punches and the way you know he punch one punch at a time, and he has to take like 2 to 3 seconds rest between combinations.
All right. Wait, hold on. Do we have a phone call here? No.
Not yet. People aren't calling in. What the fuck?
What
Hey,
the
listen,
fuck, people? Yeah.
In regards to Cepeda, I saw it because Schofield beat Farmer under one round, in less than a round rather, and I saw a lot of people saying, "Man, Cepeda's trash. Cepeda's trash." I'm thinking, well, how much credit does Shakur Stevenson get then? If the guy's trash, I don't get it. But yeah, the phone lines are open. Make sure people call in.
I think it's a little bit out of context, you know, because the thing is,
I Schofield kid, man. I think
Farmer took the 3 fights, both Cepeda and the kid Austin in less than a year. People, let's think about that.
Right. Yep, you're right.
So, and he's what, like borderline 40? He's like 37, 38.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so like people, I mean, in my opinion, still fucking impressive. You know, kudos to Kid Austin. I'm fucking because he was showing off a Dominican flag when he doesn't speak Spanish. So fuck him for that. But
Oh wait.
It's a family
I don't fuck with Jono. I don't fuck with Jono Savos, bro. Fuck them.
Okay, well, we don't play.
It's Sunday.
Say the N-word. Say the N-word.
No, hold on. You don't mess with no sabos. We don't mess with people who have potty mouths.
With big foreheads either. So like, you know. So you know, but you know, shout out. No, but it's still, you know, what's impressive. You know, shout out to Kid Austin. So it seems like the power is real. But still, like, you know, people seems to forget like Tevin Farmer took, you know, both have paid up fights, and he's fight with this kid in less than a year. So like, you know what, it's less than 7 months, pretty much. So he's, I think he just, you know, he got wore down. You know, I don't really think he had recovered. You know, you see him struggling making the weight, even though he's a small dude. I think like probably he walks around like 140 something. So like I think he was cooked. I think he was done. I think he was just there for a paycheck. Even though I was expecting way more than that, I was actually pulling for him. So like, you know, have to eat a whole bunch of crow. You know, I thought he would have outboxed Kid Austin. I still don't think Kid Austin is ready for something crazy. I still think he can still be outboxed. He's like a lesser version of Sean Porter, but you know, he still can improve. He just needs to have like the right training, in my opinion, and the right attitude, and you know, get his ass whooped a couple of times. I think he's one of those kids. I don't think he's gonna go undefeated. I think if he gets defeated, I think he's gonna learn way more. But let's see what happens. You know.
All right. What else can we talk about here? Come on. Okay.
Are we really not having a phone call? Nobody?
Yeah, nobody's calling.
Isn't that Shiraz?
Nobody's calling.
What are the fighters in that Berlanga Shiraz on the card? What other fighters are on the card?
Morel's fighting this Russian guy. I forget his name, but he's very good apparently.
David Morel?
Yeah, David Morel is fighting this like a Russian guy. He's a good puncher.
I mean, I'm kind of curious to see him because he only has like 10 fights, something like that. He's like on the Madrimov territory, you know.
This will be his 11th fight, I think.
Yeah, he's like on the Madrimov territory.
Yeah, that dude, that Russian dude or whatever he is, he fought an Argentinian with a pulse, and the guy struggled a little bit. I mean, he did beat him up, dropped him, but then he got tired. It's almost like he threw way too many shots in the first couple of rounds, didn't pace himself. So if he paces himself and maybe he powers up for this fight, I would expect him to maybe look good. But what's his name? Morel can still be dangerous. It's just that Benavidez has a good guard. He's got sneaky defense or underrated defense, and most of Morel's punches just couldn't get through. But that's.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, BDA. I think Morel would have whooped Benavidez as just a little bit more experience, because the dude never fought outside of Minneapolis. So probably like the lights got too bright for him, you know, and because he had many, like you can tell the Benavidez punching wasn't really affecting him. But he just got frozen like in a couple of sessions, and you can tell Benavidez was really bothered when he hit him. Every time he got hit by Morel, he got bothered to the point that as soon as Morel, you know, got his, you know, in attacking mode, Benavidez wasn't his guy. He didn't want to change with this dude.
All right, we got a phone call here. Let's take it.
Look at this. We're desperate for phone calls here. Hold on a sec.
Spice it up.
I think Butch is gonna call. It's gonna call the show himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Butch is gonna call.
Can you hear us, caller?
Yo, can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can. Well, hold on. Let me boost the volume.
Boost.
Can you guys hear him?
Yep. Just boost it up.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, caller. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, you sound sexy.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
You think sexy?
No, you guys were talking about like runners. And it's odd that no one mentions this in this discussion at all. Is like this technique. I hate seeing it. You know, like the preemptive clinch. It isn't just like a guy like Devin Haney runs, right? There are plenty of times in the Ramirez fight where even under absolutely no danger, no punches being thrown, just like Ramirez getting in range was enough for Haney to clinch. And it's something that Shakur Stevenson exploits all the time. He just jumps out of the way and then clinches the opponent, you know? And it's like he just clinches just to stop the guy's momentum. And this is just like infuriating to watch. Like it's so clearly not just against the rules, but the whole spirit of the sport, right? Like all this talk of them being defensive wizards, and it's accomplished purely by cheating. Like if they weren't able to do this, you know, and if they were deducted points, like when this happened immediately, because it's like a totally unforced error, right? It's not like the guy hurt them and they clinched. it's not. He didn't even throw any punches. He just got into range and they clinch. Like I don't know. It really ruins the sport for me. Like more than anything else. That's the thing I hate seeing the most. It's so obvious, you know. Like you'd have to be, I don't know, stultified not to see this as a ref. Like you're literally right there, you know.
Well, it's not obvious enough for some people. They still want that to happen, and I think some people enjoy watching the male on male contact, two shirtless men hugging and getting very close to each other. By the way, did you enjoy
when you talk about BDA? It's exciting, but
okay, come on. Did you enjoy the Canelo? Did you enjoy the Canelo? Irish Andrew Ward, did you enjoy the Canelo Crawford press conference and the questions, the riveting, thought-provoking questions that came from the media members?
I was glued to the screen. I couldn't turn away, just like you. It was incredible. You know, I didn't watch any of it.
Come on.
I'm not that excited for this thing. I hope the undercard's good. But was Manny Pacquiao fighting on the undercard?
No.
Is he?
Right.
Or am I getting that wrong?
You're getting it completely wrong. I think you've clinched onto too many men yourself. You're a little bit discombobulated. Irish Andrew Ward. Anything
No
else?
such thing.
All right. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
Pride month, PBA. You don't have to hide. All right.
Yeah, I think I
you
do.
can be
Yeah.
yourself.
Actually,
I
you
think
have to
you're
hide
right.
away from
All right.
CEA.
What was that, Vessel?
You have to hide away from you. It's Pride Month, dude. I know how you get down.
Is it still Pride Month? I didn't know. I don't pay attention.
Oh, come
to
on. You know.
I mean, all right. Listen, Irish Andrew Ward. Thank you for your
It's all
comment.
blur for you. I know.
It's all a drug yeah. All right, take it easy, man. Thank you for
Every day is Gay Pride Day, whatever that shit is.
Oh man.
I mean, also like
fishnets every day randomly.
I mean, also like the corporations in the United States at the very least, they don't get in like that special fund from the government, so they don't get in the the parade colors on the company's logos anymore. So that's why it's fun. Yeah, as long as they don't get in that funding, they don't,
Well,
you can get a tax deductible because of that, that, right?
They need to get people back into the war machine. That's why they're dialing down the whole woke thing. Let's go to our phone call here. Let's go to 419. 419, you're on the air. 419. What's on your mind?
Yeah, what's up? It's Raphael 32.
Raphael 32. What's up, man? What's on your mind?
What's up? What are y'all? Let's just talking about the running and 16-ounce gloves and all that, or just about the yesterday's card?
Anything you want.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah. Haney and Norman. Well, I'll start off with what's my man's name? Schofield. I start off with Schofield Farmer. I had Farmer in that fight. But I had Schofield upsetting Shakur, but that fight didn't happen. And Schofield saw an opening and took it, and it was the first punch. Farmer, like everybody said, I've seen it with my own eyes. He wasn't the same. He just finished them off. Second fight, you guys aren't talking about this. Rodriguez and Griffin. That was a hell of a fight.
Oh yeah.
All Griffin had to do is just you know what I mean, just keep him at bay with the jab and fight in and out. But he wanted to stay on the front foot. You know what I mean? Just go on just use his jab. But Rodriguez, who did he lose to? Pedraza hasn't fought in a long time. Decorated amateur, over 200, maybe 300 fights. And he big shouts out to him. You know what I mean? I think he signed with TKO after that. Got him when he hurt him in the 9th round. I was like, if he hurts him again, it's over. Sure enough, he hurt him in the 10th round. And that was a great fight. You had 3 knockouts in a row. And Curiel did a good job. That was competitive. You saw him start to come on, and he just overwhelmed. I think the other guy named was Rodriguez also, and that was a great fight. And then Zurdo, I had him down the first 4, maybe 5. It was all Dorticos. Dorticos were fighting good for 39, but then Ramirez just started putting his punches together and coming on, and it was a wrap, especially when he started snapping his head back. Now, as far as Booty Paul, I don't even want to talk about that. Jake Paul is what were you going to say?
No, I'm laughing.
What did you call him?
Booty Paul.
Because I said Booty Paul. Yeah, but Booty Paul, he's a great promoter. I give him props for setting up the undercard fights. His fights aren't shit. The fights he has like with Serrano and Taylor, and giving Taylor her own card. He's good at setting up fighters with their own with the undercard fights of him being the main event. He gets no credit. He's not even a good prospect. What it is, he has his own money. When he decided to get into boxing, he's so rich. All of the YouTubers followed him over. He had millions and millions of people follow him over to boxing. Paid the best trainers to teach him how to box. Teach him, basically, paid his way into the game. There's nothing wrong with that. But, for him to fight Ramirez next, that's not, Paul can't even beat a good contender, a established contender. But I give him his props on being basically he's a good promoter who fights. And as far as Haney and my man's and Norman, Norman thrashes Haney. I'm not gonna say Haney doesn't have a shot because styles make fights, and not every fighter fights the same way, every fight. But it seems like Haney did after Pro Grace. Who did Haney fight? He fought Ryan after Pro Grace.
Right. He fought Ryan Garcia, and then he fought Ramirez, and now he's fighting Norman. And
right, yeah. So he beat Pro Grace up, which I was shocked. I picked Pro Grace to win that fight, and to say I'm not going to say he's a shot fighter, but Bill said on Cigar Talk today they don't have a tool bag, they got a warehouse. Well, they better unload that warehouse because Brian Norman is coming. He is coming. Him and his dad. His dad talks big shit too. So that's really all I got to say. I gave my little 2 cents.
All right, Phil. Good call. Call back next time.
Oh yeah, and I'm going to the fight. I already got my ticket and my suite. I bought my ticket May 9th. So what I mean. I'll call you guys the following Sunday or that night if you decide to broadcast. I'm not leaving until Monday.
All right, good. It's good to have some boots on the ground. Absolutely. Keep us updated on that. And thank you for your call, Ray. Right. Call back, man.
Yep. Yeah, I'll be hollering at y'all. Y'all be cool.
Take it easy, man. Yeah, hey, by the way, the phone lines are open, fellas. Make sure to call in. The phone number is right there in the left-hand middle portion of your screen and in the middle portion as well. I just want to say something, too, about what you just said about Jake Paul. That's a thing, though. He's got a lot of money and a lot of free time on his hands. He can do whatever he wants. So he's paying the best, whether it's the best trainers and conditioning coaches to get him that extra edge, if you know what I mean. And it reminds me of Bush. I think I told you about this dude. There was a guy back in my industry days. He was a Wall Street guy, and he was always like a bit of a nerd when he was growing up and everything. And yeah, he spent a lot of time, 15-something years in Wall Street. He was about to hit 50 years of age, having a midlife crisis. He said, "You know what? I got enough money. I want to get in the industry as a performer, and I just want to, bang away." And this dude did everything he could. He took the supplements, and you know what I mean when I say supplements, extra stuff to get him hard and all that. And he just could. I mean, he was okay, but he couldn't keep up with the best of them because those other guys just had the natural talent and they had experience way before, like a solid base. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with Jake Paul. Yeah, okay, he's young, relatively young, but he's about to be 30. He's already in his prime years, and he's
Gonzalo mentioned that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Shout out to Gonzalo. I'll shut my mouth then.
No, it's a good point, though. I mean, he's gonna reach 30 at this point, and that's why I was asking. Like, has this guy improved? I mean, I think he has a little bit, but again, he's not ready for the professionals, like the top, I should say, the top of the division, the top 20 of the division.
Do we know if his fights are real?
I don't know.
You know, yesterday's fight, I did start thinking, is this on the up and up? You just never know, man.
Well, the first two rounds, Chavez threw 3 punches. I counted.
Yeah, Chavez does fight like shit, bro. I've seen him fight like shit.
His brain is all coked up, man. So his reflexes were shot yesterday. That's why he took him 7 rounds to get going. Let's go to a couple of phone calls here. Let's go to 713. 713 on the air. 713. What's your mind?
I just wanted to talk about yesterday's fight. I think Chavez Jr. He should have been he should have hanged the gloves up a long time ago. I really didn't expect him to win. And Paul being in the boxing scene, I think it's good for the sport. I'm surprised Kid Austin TKO the first round. Tevin Farmer, congratulations to him, and then congratulations to Zurdo Ramirez for putting that win. Also, it looks like he might be undisputed, but hopefully everything is hopefully the PBC card will be just as good as last night's card. But thanks for having me on the show. Bye.
All right, thank you for your call. Short and sweet. That was short and sweet right there. Great call, and call back next time, right, man? Take it easy.
Thank you. Bye. Yeah,
the PBC, you know, they even sometimes they have fights that on paper look like they're gonna suck, and then they turn out to be good. So cross your fingers and hope for the best. That's what I say. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 205. 205. You're on the air. 205. What's on your mind?
What's up, B-Day? Uncle Charles, man. What's happening?
Oh, Uncle Charles. What's up, man?
Uncle Charles, I love you.
Man, I can't call it, man. I can't call it, y'all. You know, when it rains, I tell them, get in between the raindrops. Even though your ass gonna get wet, you might well go ahead and get wet because you ain't gonna be able to get in between them. Let me just say this. These boxing matches I seen this weekend was tragic, all but sad. Deontay Wilder, he's learning how now, trying to learn how to box, and he looked terrible. See, it's too late in the game for that now. See, you couldn't get rid of those people around you, these yes men, and now it's time to really learn how to box, and you look like shit. That's what you look like. And Jake Paul is not going to fight no top guys. He's fighting hand-picked opponents, and that's all he's going to fight. Now, he might be able to get in there with Deontay Wilder and do something, but he's just not learning how to box, so you may be able to knock his ass out. Let me tell you something. If anybody want to fight, Deontay is your man right now. If you want to put him to sleep, this is the best time to do it. But right before bedtime, don't wait till 12 at night. Go ahead and put him to sleep right now because he's just not learning. You cannot learn how to box at 39 years old. It's too damn late. And Jake Paul, he's not going to fight anyone. He's only going to fight hand-picked opponents. Not these guys out here will knock his head off into the second row. No, he's not going to fight them. That's the way it is. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you in a metaphor, because I always leave a metaphor, you DDA. Mm-hmm. I watched a vampire wipe his ass with a towel. And then he put it up into his face. And he noticed that it smelled like ass. So he tried to throw Clorox on the towel to quell the smell. He put it up on the table, walked away from it, came back 2 hours later. And he put the towel up to his face again. And you know what it smelled like? Ass. You know why it smells like ass? Because ass got ingredients in it that Clorox don't. Try to figure that one out, and I'll call you back.
All right, I'll try to ruminate on that one. I don't think I'm gonna come up with the answer, but and I didn't even know vampire shit. I thought they did. It's like
I feel like.
You ever see that Abel Ferrara movie with Christopher Walken? Where he plays he's only there for a little bit, but he plays a vampire that has been able to adapt to humanity. He goes, "I actually defecate." He tells a vampire, "When's the last time you defecated?" Like he was doing that, like he was boasting that he could shit. So I'm thinking, hey, that maybe that's the movie that Uncle Charles saw. Maybe it inspired him with that. That's something that little quiz there that he gave us, that enigma. Sounds like something King Solomon would have come up with. Shout out to Uncle Charles.
Yeah, that's like a Sphinx riddle.
Exactly, man. All right. Don't forget to call in. Hey, by the way, that the other caller, Rafael, he called in. He said that Norman is looking to zone in and finish Devin Haney off. So, it is Pride Month, apparently, according to Vessel. Can't stop talking about it. So,
hey, we didn't.
That date was.
Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Wilder. We didn't talk about him. Uncle Charles mentioned him. I mean, there's a reason why I forgot about that fight because what the fuck was that?
Wichita, Kansas.
The King is back.
I mean, yeah, exactly. That venue was weird as hell. It was completely dark. I don't know. That thing around the ring looked unstable. The production looked low quality. And the fight
Wilder's opponent had to help put the ring up and help take it down afterwards. So it was kind of a rush job,
Yeah, exactly. Everybody was helping out. The boxers were there, like setting up the ring and everything. Wilder's performance, I mean, it was just that, a Wilder performance. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He's just doing what he always does. Throw that jab.
The dude he was fighting looked like he had the same energy as Chavez Jr. He was like, all right, just wail on me,
Yeah.
That's
pretty much. And then he just, he didn't even get knocked out. It was a TKO.
Exactly.
And the guy he just got tired because he was out of shape.
You know what's crazy, Bucho? He was about to retire before he got a phone call.
He's joking.
Like he was about to retire before he got a phone call. You know, right?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
They say, hey, before you retire, would you like to fight the Shango Warrior?
Why do you keep saying Chango Warrior? That's racist, bro.
That's what he is.
You're saying Chango Warrior. Doesn't that mean
no? But he admitted that he was like, well, since I didn't have like much of a career, we just about to like hang up the gloves, and he was already like doing something else for a while, and he was just trying to like focus on that, and like something else. And he got that call. Like, okay, why not?
Shelly Finkelstein. Sorry, Shelly Finkel.
Come on.
No, that's not what I.
We're gonna get shot down.
I forgot. I seriously. Anyways, these guys said that they're looking for a AJ fight, a Fury fight. Can you believe that?
It reminds me of what Stu always used to say about Amir Khan circa 2019 when he'd been knocked out a bunch of times. And he said, Khan's delusional. He's always out there thinking, oh, yeah, the Pacquiao fight, I want that, the Mayweather fight. That's still out there for me. It's like as if he had all these options that he could just, I'll just call up Mayweather and have him fight me. And it's true. Deontay, although I do say, I think Wilder, I think that is true. I think if they got AJ on the line, I think maybe that's a fight that Joshua would take just as a tune-up or something. But yeah, Wilder looked bad, man. He just, his game was always that big right hand, and he had a quick right hand. That's for sure. A lot of these lummoxes, I don't know what the plural of lummox is. Lummoxi? I don't know.
They both been knocked out.
Was that?
Haven't Joshua and Wilder been knocked out the same amount of times? Like Wilder's been knocked out 3 times, and so is AJ. Or am I wrong about that?
AJ was stopped by Luis. And
two times.
Yeah.
2 times. By the way, did you hear earlier Severino just completely sidestepped Never Sober as a joke? Well, that was kind of rude. He didn't even acknowledge it with a fake chuckle.
He did like...
he's Dominican, bro. It's in their culture.
Yeah, it's Dominican.
He did Zurdo Ramirez.
Dominican humor.
Hey, no, listen. In reality, I didn't really... I heard like he said something, but I didn't hear what he said.
I don't know.
One time I made that race joke in front of all the Dominicans, and they all
listen, man. Y'all a whole bunch of chismosos. That's what's going on.
I admit that. I am a chismoso.
Yeah, yo sé que sí, coño, chismoso viejo.
Guys. Eubank Jr., Conor Ben, the rematch, September the 20th. London.
Well, are we done with Wilder already?
What
I'm
else
done
are
with
you gonna say
Wilder. I don't know
him,
about
bro?
you.
That he's gay?
Yeah, okay, so Wilder,
smells?
40 years
What's
old. 40 years old, and he beat this guy. I forgot his name, to be honest.
Bucho. All these, like you were following the YTBC way before I was, and so you were on the ground level for the whole Wilder saga. I don't think you can let him go that easily. I think you want to.
I did. It was difficult, but I managed to move on. You know.
His name is Bendor. That's the guy he fought. Bendor.
No, that's not his name. What? Because he was bending.
What? Bender? Isn't that a character from
He was
Futurama?
bending down all the time. He was bending down all the time.
It was a weird fight. Bend and spread.
Bend and spread.
Spread that door. That's what it was.
Yeah, no, in the arena, all dark and everything. It was black, like it was pitch black. He was crazy. It was like that concert they had at the Superdome during the Katrina.
Oh, come on.
No.
Speaking of concerts, Cesar said that Wichita, Kansas, that same venue, I don't know if it was a venue or just the city itself, but Elvis played there back in the 70s. We're talking fat, past his prime Elvis. So it was quite apropos that Wilder ended up there too, past his prime.
Are you saying he's going to die in the toilet, sitting in the toilet?
He's going to die in the toilet eating a peanut butter and banana sandwich, trying to push the shit out of his ass. And he's gonna die of high blood pressure.
Seriously, Wilder shouldn't fight again. He shouldn't fight an elite boxer. He's gonna get stopped again.
I mean, he can keep on pushing.
Well, yeah. I mean, if he wants a payday, he can. I mean, I think AJ fucks him up. Fury, obviously. I mean, who's interested in that? Who's interested in those fights?
But that's what I was gonna say earlier. It's his right hand isn't even there anymore. That's all he has, and it's not even there. There were certain times where he had Chango, or what was his name? What's his real name? It's not Chango. What's his real name? The other dude.
Bro, what?
The guy he fought.
Why is he just being racist today?
No, because right when I said his name was Django or something like that.
No,
that was real. But anyway.
What's his name?
The Wilder son.
Okay. I thought you were talking about the other dude. Anyway, the guy that Wilder fought, that Torres knocked out in 2 rounds. There were points in the fight where Wilder had him lined up, backed against the ropes, landed the right hand, and there just wasn't as much snap as there used to be. It was actually a thudding type of right hand, which means the dude has lost his snap, which is what he was banking on to that right hand. So take away his right hand, he's donezo. Somebody backs him up, they're gonna beat him up in there.
What about Wilder against Torres?
Oh, somebody mentioned that on the Discord, I think.
But that does nothing for Torres, though. What does that do for him?
It's a name.
It's better than anything he's faced, I guess, so far.
Tyrell, that's his name. People are saying Tyrell. There you go.
Well, way off.
Shout out to Williams, yeah. But maybe on the other hand, maybe we are being too harsh on Wilder because he hadn't fought in over a year. He'd been brutally dropped by Zhang the last time he was fighting. So, hey, put him in. I understand him fighting a real tune-up. This was a real tune-up, but he didn't look good, man. He did not look good at all. He was still
didn't look good for a tune-up, a real tune-up. So yeah, that's it. This is a red flag. He's 40 years old.
Wilder
looks bad against a tune-up. Yeah.
He's still on his heels after he punches. He still leans back and doesn't go anywhere. He's got no real jab to speak of. It's just, he just slaps with the left hook, chin up in the air. Caballero would beat him down to the body. He would roast those ribs. Even Ajagba would catch him with a big one too, and he would probably get a taste of his own medicine in that one. Wilder, that is.
Bacoli, what his name is? Bacoli, not Coley. Bacoli.
I mean, if he shows up in shape, he murders Deontay Wilder. Murder.
Maybe Andy Ruiz?
What happened to Andy Ruiz? The fuck?
I think he's still stuck at the buffet.
I think he opened like a taqueria, bro.
Yeah, he
opened a taqueria.
He opened a taqueria right in front of Sobers'.
Yeah, he stole my idea.
Guys, have you noticed Crawford acting a little bit strange during those press conferences with Canelo? Like out of character? Out of character.
Bucho, I'll tell you this. Look, you can tell this guy listens to his Twitter feed, right? And I was first suspicious of this when I seen him try to put a lawsuit on Bob Arum, a lawyer, right? I seen him try to sue a lawyer for racism. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, that's the only place where you see that is on your Twitter feed. You know, and then now, you know, he does that little thing where he wants to step up to Canelo and see Canelo send him flying back with a one-arm push, right? Mm-hmm. And like a 1-inch push, the dude almost caved in his chest. And then they asked him about it the next press conference, right? And he goes, "Yeah, I seen them people say I'm scared of him, so I had to press him to let them know that I'm not." Mm-hmm. So it's like, bro, that's something else that you're seeing on your Twitter feed, obviously. You know what I mean? And like you're getting these people like get in your head, and you're out. These are the same people that told you could beat Canelo in the first place, right?
Right. I think that's what happened.
He reads all the posts.
Very true. And I think he's having second doubts. Now that he's in the press conference, it's getting real, it's getting close. I think he's trying to like get a little bit nervous. You know, what did I get myself into? Why did I listen to these people? I think that's what now he's trying to pump himself up. You know, it's like, I'm going to whoop your ass. I'm going to whoop your ass. And like, I've never seen
but with his voice cracking up. Anybody else, dude?
Yeah, he's smiling.
Yeah. His voice is literally cracking up when he's saying, "I'm gonna whoop your ass."
And then he switches to, "I'm gonna whoop your ass," like it's schizophrenic.
He's like, "I'm gonna put Canelo on the ropes."
I do wonder how much of it is false or just bravado, false confidence, or how much of it is like what Butch was saying, pumping himself up, or maybe he's starting to believe it because. You have to put yourself in the mindset of a lot of these professional boxers, especially these high-level pound-for-pound guys. They've heard throughout their life people doubting them, you know. So and they have to have that unshakable belief in themselves. And sometimes that comes out at the most inopportune moments. I'll give you an example: Evander Holyfield, cruiserweight champion, heavyweight champion. He did make it to the Olympics, which is a big achievement. Managed to medal there. So he's gone through adversity. He knows he's had the doubts. And he's managed to overcome them. But then there's a point where people get stuck in that mindset and they get put in certain situations that they're ill-equipped to handle, but they still have that mindset of, you know, I've heard this before. I've been doubted before, just like I'm being doubted now, so I can overcome it. The problem is, like I said, sometimes you can't move mountains. Some things aren't meant to be. And Crawford right now, he's heard it before. You can't beat this guy, or maybe Spence is going to be too much for you, blah, blah, blah. And he overcame it. So I don't know if that conditioning is kicking back in and saying, hey, you know what? Maybe I can beat Canelo. Maybe, we're the same height.
No,
maybe I'm a little bit more than him.
But he's rarely the underdog, though. That's the thing. Aside from the Spence fight. Huh? What's that?
When's the last time he was the underdog? Crawford is.
Against Spence, maybe a slight underdog, or was he depends on what you were looking at. I think it was
like a 50-50 fight.
Yeah, it was like a 50-50. I think they had Crawford as a slight favorite, but it was close. And a lot of people on the internet they were picking Spence. So that's the only situation I can remember where he was in a fight where some people thought that he might lose. Other than that, he's always been the favorite.
That's true. Yeah, it's true.
It's true.
I mean, you can say the same thing about Canelo, especially in his last 5 fights. But I will say, though, that
Bivol, that's the thing, though. They thought they could beat. Some people thought he could beat Bivol. We on this show, we said that he could. My prediction was he was going to win by robbery, but I thought Bivol was going to win. So,
well, I picked Bivol from the get go.
Yeah, I don't know. Then okay, maybe you might have a point there, but he's been in tough fights where he shouldn't win.
I picked Canelo to win, but some of us in the YTBC picked. Some of us in the YTBC picked Bivol to win, but I think the Las Vegas odds makers, I think they might have had Canelo 2-1 or something like that. But look, in this scenario, I see a lot of people also bring up a bunch of stuff like, well, Canelo's lost before, or Canelo's going to land one, or vice versa. People say, well, Canelo's going to beat him because Crawford can't get away from the power. Or I hear people saying, Crawford's never lost before. We know Canelo can lose. But I'm thinking, yeah, but who has beaten Canelo? Look at who he was. It was Floyd Mayweather when Canelo was 23 years old. And then it was Bivol, a light heavyweight, who was able to go 24 rounds with Beterbiev, the first man to go the distance with Beterbiev. That's a big accomplishment. Crawford isn't that type of boxer. He's not a savant. He's not a pure boxer is what I'm saying. So people look at Canelo Crawford and they go, oh, Canelo's fighting another pound-for-pound guy. The last time that happened was Mayweather and Bivol. But what do Bivol and Mayweather have in common? They're pure boxers. That's what I'm trying to illustrate. Crawford is not a pure boxer. In a lot of ways, his offense is his defense. When he fought Spence, his crowning achievement, you didn't see a whole lot of defensive wizardry. He just kept tagging Spence coming in. That's why I say his offense is his defense. For the most part, he's not a boxing virtuoso, a defensive wizard where he stands in the pocket and makes you miss or can run around the ring. I mean, he can run around the ring, but then again, the last time we saw him do that was against Postal, and that was in 2016. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of factors here. People need to stop going with the surface level shit like, well, Crawford is going to get hit with one punch. He can handle the power, or Canelo can handle the foot movement because he always struggles with movers. If that was the case, Caleb Plant and Billy Joe Saunders would have been able to beat him. Same thing with Jamal Charlo.
Yeah, that's true.
He's a good mover. They didn't come close to beating Canelo. So people need to look at the stylistic matchup. They need to look at the last 3 fights. Stop going 10 years back in the past and start from there.
Another thing is Crawford is really susceptible to right hands, and Canelo is really good with his right hand. Like when he's aiming, especially with that chopping style that he has now. Like he, I can see like the fight going, Crawford getting tagged with that right hand, like he was getting tagged against Madrimov. Because it was a point that Madrimov was going to miss with that right hand, and that's something that he has struggled before. That and the fact that people seems to forget that Crawford is actually older than Canelo, and it's
he's older, and how is he going to deal with the weight?
It's two weight divisions,
Yeah, I'm making a video I'm going to be posting. I'm going to talk about that. The fact that it's Canelo that's under the microscope. Let's look at his past performances. Let's look at how old he is. Is he on the decline? But when it comes to Crawford, he's not under the microscope. It's not like he's 37 years old, right? Nobody questions his age. Nobody questions his last performance against Madrimov. His first fight at 154, he didn't look that great. Nobody's questioning that. The microscope is on Canelo. I think these people are going to be disappointed.
Well,
people who are
which was like I told you. Shout out to Thunderdome, by the way. Shout out to Thunderdome in the chat. Everybody go check him out. And he says, Bud's gloves are going to explode again. I mean, yeah, that's the thing, though. Whenever people talk about Canelo and the cheating, they never talk about Crawford's gloves exploding. One time I let it go. I was like, okay, shit happens. Twice, nobody's talking about that except for a couple of us. But I will say this, though. Yesterday, like I said, I wasn't expecting much or anything at all from Chavez Jr. I'm not expecting anybody to give Canelo credit after he beats Crawford. All these people that are picking Crawford, they're not going to give Canelo credit. Just get that through your heads, people. If you're expecting, because otherwise you're going to be shocked. You're going to be thinking, if Canelo beats Crawford, and I say if, because I do give Crawford a chance here, but if Canelo beats him, don't expect people to give him credit. Don't be shocked. Don't get into fight. You just understand that no matter what Canelo does, he's not going to get credit.
That's why I'm trying to get them to give him credit now, because they're saying it's a mismatch, right? Because Canelo is so much bigger, but then they're picking Crawford. So then it's not a mismatch, because you think Crawford has a very good chance of winning. That's why you're picking him. So it's not a mismatch. So if Canelo wins, you need to give him credit.
Not going to happen. I'm telling you right up.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. But I'm recording everything, man.
That it's a cherry pick, that he's old. They're going to say every excuse in the book, bro.
Exactly, yeah.
Another thing is, they say like, oh no, he doesn't have a big resume because, he got frozen out. Bullshit, Negro. You can also just move up. Like, that's not like an excuse, because you can tell like he couldn't be at 154 like a long time ago. And, he always was like, I don't know if you remember, guys, but he couldn't get like Jamal Charlo out of his mouth. He wanted like that fight like so bad. He was like he's a bad boxer and this and that, and he would have moved up to 154 a long time ago. He just trying to chase that easy win on Errol Spence. Trying to collect all the belts.
Yeah, he knew it was an easy win. But by the way,
Yeah, and just catch.
Yeah,
And just catch all the belts at the end, and be like, I mean, don't get it twisted. Like Crawford is a talented dude, kudos to him, but I don't know, man. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors. This is guys, and to be fair, I like to see him. Well, I like some of his fights more than Canelo fights, but the thing is, man, I can see how he can win, especially he likes to hold the Turk hands like really tough, you know what I mean? If he get to a decision, Canelo can get robbed. But probably like the shit would like a trilogy or some shit.
Well, he wants a rematch. He mentioned something about a rematch. And by the way, I want to mention here a super chat from Earl Stevens. He says, when Turkey said I wanted to sit next to Crawford looked at him and smiled. What a F word. I can't say this on YouTube, but yeah.
Wait.
Yes.
Bucha, did you see the Turkey post on Twitter? He posted a picture of young Crawford, of baby Crawford with a little smile.
What? No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, that was weird, man.
What's that about?
I need to get it.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Saudi Arabia, man. It's oh, come on. But I mean, I will say this: like when Cepeda beat Farmer in the rematch, I didn't see barely anybody gave him credit on Twitter. Everyone was talking about Farmer. Oh, what a tough guy! What a credit to Farmer for going 12 rounds. If he had power, the fight would have been different. So no credit to Cepeda. In fact, now that Schofield knocked out Farmer in one round, people are saying Cepeda's trash. So I'm just saying people have some weird opinions. And after Canelo, if Canelo beats Crawford, it's gonna be the same thing. And obviously the same it's gonna apply. If Crawford beats Canelo, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be people who are not gonna give Crawford any credit. But the people that are picking Crawford are already saying it. Most of them, they're saying Canelo's shot. He's shot. He can't move his feet. He's flat-footed. So then they're already saying it's like when I said prior to the Crawford Spence fight, I picked Crawford because Spence had been in an accident. He had a lifestyle that was ruining his reflexes. In fact, even Crawford let Spence know about it in a tweet. Remember that infamous tweet where he said, you're not leading a good life or something like that, and you know what I'm talking about. That's why he wrote in the tweet. So it was a secret that people knew. It was an open secret. It's just people ignored it. And so I do wonder, the people who are picking Crawford to win because they're saying Canelo's shot, how much credit are they going to give Crawford if he wins?
I mean, also, you can tell, I think Crawford is kind of nervous as well because, I think Canelo is like the only opponent that he couldn't like pull off the I'm being undisputed before, or I've been done that, I've been doing this, this and that, the whole I'm the best around and shit like that. Like, he couldn't pull that because the thing is, Canelo was like, yeah, but you haven't fought anybody.
Yeah, that's actually really funny that you say that. Literally, when he told him. When he told them like,
and then I think
he almost cried.
Lo peor, like he was actually like, I think he was making everybody's points for like, I think he was making like everybody's point clear when he started like mentioning names. He was just looking worse. He's like, oh, Ricky Burns wasn't elite.
I said Ricky Burns was elite. That's something embarrassing.
I mean, he was a good guy. He was a good fighter at the time, but then, unfortunately for Ricky Burns, he ended up losing. I think he ended up losing a couple of fights thereafter. Never got back to the top. So that's why a lot of people besmirch what's his name.
Yeah, but you also have to remember, like, it is one of those fights. He went back down to 135.
Right.
Like that and the Gamboa fight.
But my understanding of an elite fighter or something, or a challenge. Let's go to a challenge because Canelo fought. Okay, listen, he fought Floyd Mayweather, Cotto, who was considered the champion at the time. He fought Golovkin, who was considered the real champion of the middleweight division. And then he took on challenges at 168. He was fighting bigger guys. And then he fights Kovalev. And now the Kovalev fight, sure, I mean, Kovalev was shot, in my opinion, but still, it was a fight where Canelo was testing himself against a bigger guy, a guy who can punch. We rarely see that with Crawford. We rarely saw that with Crawford. A fight where he's taking on a big challenge, where there's questions. You know what I mean? Like, really, was that a fight everybody was questioning whether Crawford's abilities to defeat this guy. No, everybody knew he was going to win. Sure, it was going to be a tough fight, but he was a massive favorite. And then he moves up to welterweight. And what did he do at welterweight? He just waited for that Spence fight. So there weren't any challenges. No challenges.
Because the thing, and I think kudos to Jamar Charlo. I think he mentioned that before. He was like, "Hey, listen, I know you done well. You want to fight, man? You can fight me. You can move up. You just waiting for that, the lottery ticket,
Yeah, exactly. And I, by the way, a lot of this, the reason why Crawford didn't fight some of these other welterweights that were there at the time, like Garcia, Porter in his prime, and Thurman, was because obviously of the politics of boxing. Crawford was with Top Rank.
Yeah,
and
but here's the thing.
Yeah.
That's an excuse, man. In my opinion, I hate to mention this guy, but look at Canelo. You think like back in the days, people didn't try to freeze out Canelo? Like, come on, because he was with Golden Boy and shit.
At the same time, you're right, because Crawford did. I think he extended his contract with Top Rank at some point while he was in the welterweight division, knowing full well that it was going to be very difficult for him to fight these other fighters that are with the BBC when he's with Top Rank.
Knowing well that the only belt that the Top Rank has is a WBO, and you already have it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's my point. Yeah. So you're right. But still, my point stands. He didn't have any. He didn't have that many fights where he had to challenge himself, where there was intrigue. Where he was fighting a bigger guy, a tall guy, extremely tall guy, or something like that. No, never. Like maybe the Postal fight. You know what? I'll go back to that because Postal was a tall guy. He was on a good run.
Well, actually, the other taller guy was one-legged Benavides.
Yeah, but nobody was expecting that.
He actually struggled quite a lot.
Yeah, but nobody was really expecting that fight to turn out the way it turned out, where Benavides actually gave this guy a tough fight for the first 5 rounds. Some people had him winning the first few rounds, but that wasn't supposed to be that. That's like the first fight when you saw his power started to bail him out. Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, in that fight, the power bailed him out because I think Benavides was winning, legit.
Maybe. I mean, I think he was struggling at the beginning.
Watch that fight again. I watched it 3 times already.
I'll watch it again. I haven't seen it in a long time, to be honest. So. But yeah, that's what happened with Crawford. And Crawford, and somebody mentioned things, Severino, you mentioned it, or somebody else. Crawford could have moved up to 154 years earlier, a few years ago. And that would have been a challenge. This is what I'm talking about. This is what he was missing in his career. These types of challenges where he's moving up, now he's fighting bigger guys. Because he's a true welterweight, in my opinion, right? When Crawford moved up to welterweight, nobody was saying, "Oh shit, this guy's gonna be fighting these bigger guys. He's a smaller guy." But no, everybody's like, "Oh, he's finally moving up to welterweight, where he belongs." So it wasn't that big of a challenge, man.
The thing about Crawford is the same thing you see from Haney, Shakur, and all these guys. Everybody's talking about their future welterweight careers. You know what I mean? Because they know these guys are big as shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, relatively to their weight class,
Yeah.
But
you're right. Well, yeah, Crawford, no, he's a welterweight. Maybe even at some point, I think he was even too big for a welterweight. I think he should have moved up to 154 a while ago. Mark says 147, 168 is crazy. Yeah, I think the move. Listen, Crawford is definitely not a super middleweight, in my opinion. But I don't think Canelo is a super middleweight either. I think Canelo belongs at 160. And the only reason, and just look at his dimensions, his reach, his height. Sure, he's thick, thick neck and all that, but I think he belongs at 160. But because of his skill, the level of his skills, his skill level, he manages to be successful at 168. But he doesn't belong there. He really doesn't belong there. So
you know what,
Crawford.
Joe, here's something. I think I don't know about hearing you guys talk about how Crawford never really took on a challenge, and this is his first real big challenge, is making me just think this is just has to be a cash out. I can't see it any other way now.
I'm with what Silver said earlier. I think Crawford got how do you say influenced by his entourage, and they all told him you can win this fight. And then they told him look at Canelo's past performances. Look at his fight against Cole. Look at his fight against Berlanga, against Munguia. He's not the same. Look at the fight with Ryder. You know, this guy is on the decline. He's not that big compared to you. You have the reach advantage. Blah 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 blah. You're faster. You're this and that. He started to believe it.
He's getting darker, you know.
You got the dog. He
No,
doesn't have the dog.
look, but this is how you can know, Bucho, that he was surrounded by yes men. Because when he actually tried to confront Canelo during that little meeting with Tom Brady and Shaq, Canelo asked him, name one elite fighter you faced. And none of them, they all got silent. It was dead silent. So he's like never had to answer that. He's never had to answer that question.
You're right. That was never asked. This is no self-criticism, self-reflection, whatever you want to call it. It's true. I mean,
so he's kind of looking dumb at these press conferences when he's like poking at Canelo, saying, you know, I'm different. He's like, actually, no, you're fucking not.
Like he's just throwing all these things that like Severino said, that works for Crawford. That would work. That bullshit talk would work for Crawford when he was fighting other guys. Because it's true. When Crawford was fighting anybody else, he could claim, I'm an undisputed champion. You never faced an undisputed champion. You never faced a 3-weight division champion, blah, blah, blah. When it comes to Canelo, all that talk it's not effective.
Damn, that's sad, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah, because he can say that shit with like, you know, with like Cole Brook and, you know,
Yeah. Even against Spence in a way. I mean, he could, hey, Spence, I'm a undisputed 140 pound champion. I'm a 3-division champion.
you know, I've been doing here before, you know.
Yeah, and Spence is just like, oh, okay. We'll see.
with his country ass. I don't know what you're talking about like that, man. Give me my time.
I'm the real big fish. I'm the real big fish around here.
Yo, guys, we haven't seen Spence fight since the summer of 2023. We haven't seen Spence. What does that tell you about the condition in which he was fighting? I think the guy was shot. He had one foot out the door. And I think Crawford knows this. That's why he doesn't even bring up that win. He's like, Ricky Burns, Postal, blah, blah, blah. No, he doesn't even want to mention Spence.
No, he don't even want to mention the fact that Spence was moving up to 154. Remember that even he had a fight schedule with Keith Thurman and everything at 154?
Yeah.
And even the fight was announced and everything, and you know, he was ready to. He was ready to move. He even said, "Yeah, I can fight you 154." Like, yeah, for sure. And kudos to Spence, he accepted the fight because the fight actually happened because of him. Because if it was because of these guys divas ass, it would never happen. And listen, I fuck with Crawford, but sometimes you know.
Yeah,
dude, karma's a bitch, bro. He shouldn't have taken that Spence fight. He knew Spence was fucked up. Now he's gonna get his ass beat.
Well, he had to take that fight. He had to take it, and especially based on a lot of people. He still held some belts. It was a unification fight. There was a lot of trash talk with the fans. We're talking more trash than Crawford and Spence. I mean, they really didn't talk that much shit. It was the fans. There was a divide within the LDBC community, and actually, there wasn't even a divide. I think the LDBC, most of them supported Errol Spence Jr. But still, you know, there was a lot of fans that were, you know, going at it. And that fight had to happen. Yeah. But, yeah, Spence is done. I don't think he's ever going to come back. And maybe Crawford's beginning to look back at his career and go like, did I actually have any major challenges? Did I actually fight any? Like, is Canelo correct? Is he right?
No, of course, because he's out of that, you know, of that Nebraska bubble.
I Like I was saying, this dude has never have to answer the question about he's really beating, because he's used to everyone kissing his ass. He's used to everyone at Top Rank kissing his ass, just like Shakur Stevenson's used to it, and how Keyshawn Davis is now getting treated. They treat him like they put him on a pedestal, and they really believe that shit.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, he was, every time he fought, he was like, whoa, you're watching a Crawford fight, a multi-division champion, undisputed, 2-time undisputed, like you're watching greatness. Now he's facing Canelo, and I think he feels like, oh shit. Like,
the aura.
I was going to say, though, I was using the word, the aura. The king of kings, basically. The king of kings.
Spices.
What?
The 12 spices, the secret recipe, the Colonel's recipe.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Secret sauce, Bucho. That pizzazz, that pizzazz.
Now I'm getting hungry. But,
nah, bro, he's going to get knocked out. His dreads are going to be all over the place, and it's going to look all funny.
The Sheik wants a rematch. He said it. He says, something about a rematch. And then he's holding Crawford's hand. I don't know. To me, those are red flags. Red flags.
Robbery? If it's
Canelo's going to knock his ass out.
Robbery.
Well, Canelo has to knock him out. He has to. I'm telling you, I have a bad feeling about this.
Think he's being set up, Bucho?
If Canelo doesn't knock him out, yeah.
Wow. How embarrassing would that be? If I'm Canelo and if I get set up, I'm not working with you. I'm buying myself out of my contract. I'm not working with you. Take me to court.
He's gonna knock him out, bro.
If Canelo loses, he should retire.
I think I'm with Sobers. I think Crawford's gonna get knocked out, man.
Amir Khan style. Watch, I'm telling you.
Yeah, you've said
it's gonna be ugly, boy. He's gonna be great, right? Because it's on such a big platform. Actually, now I'm here that you brought it up, Bucho. I was coining this term on my channel where I was talking about the other day, and we're seeing this just trend in boxing, right? We've seen it with Deontay Wilder, and now we're seeing it with Crawford, right? In the '60s and the '50s, they were saying that they wanted these white boys to beat these black champions, and they called them the Great White Hopes. The guys that didn't have a chance, but they let their belief in him, just because he's a white dude, give him a chance. Now we're seeing that the opposite, right? Now we're seeing it with Crawford and Canelo, right? We saw it with what's his name, Wilder, when he fought Fury, right? He was like a great black hope, the great Mandingo hope. You know what I mean? They wanted to see, they wanted George Foreman back. They wanted Muhammad Ali back. They wanted Joe Frazier. They thought he was Mike Tyson, Larry Holmes. They thought, they wanted Wilder to be all those things, and he just wasn't. Tyson Fury was just better. And now it's the same thing with we're seeing with Terence Crawford, right? They think he's Charles Burley. They think he's Israel Charles. They think he's Sonny Liston. They think he's Terry Norris. He's Sugar Ray, Robinson, and Leonard. And they think he's Marvin Hagler. You know what I mean? Like all Julian Jackson, Aaron Pryor. He's all these dudes from the past. He's a throwback. He's all bundled up in the one ultimate fighter for this generation, ready to take out Canelo.
But,
you know what I'm saying? And it's they're living on a hope and a prayer. Sobers,
even some of these so-called experts and former professional boxers, elite professional boxers, are picking Crawford to win. And I'm making a video, and I'm going on YouTube, and I'm downloading all these videos because I'm gonna do a compilation. I have one prediction from Andre Ward, and they ask him, who do you have winning the fight? And he says Crawford, and they ask him why, and he's like, because I haven't seen anybody break Crawford's will yet. I'm like, what does that mean? Break his will. So these guys are coming up with bullshit.
Doesn't know how to lose. He's never lost.
Yeah, I think that's Teddy Atlas said that, I think. No, somebody said that, yeah.
Dude,
he doesn't know how to lose.
Atlas. He picked Canelo to lose every fight.
Seriously, right? Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm pointing to the great Mandingo home, bro.
There was this other guy who was saying, Crawford has the dexterity. He has the stamina. He went on and on, just throwing everything he could come up with. It was crazy. It was insane. And I'm thinking, what the fuck's wrong with these people? And that's what it was. Sobers, what you're saying. These guys are like they think they have a Sugar Ray Leonard in front of them or something, or because they're looking for that Sugar Ray Leonard. They're desperate.
Bro, they're just coping.
Jared Anderson was going to take over the heavyweight division, wasn't he?
Oh yeah. I know. Yeah, exactly. I know the American heavyweight they're looking for. Yeah. I think a lot of emotions are coming.
I told you this last time. They're just mad that boxing is global now, dude. That it's not just black people ruling everything.
Hey man,
Well, it's a deeper pool now of fighters, right?
Yeah,
and now the skill level is whatever skill gap there was. It's like it's closed.
It's gone.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. That's why this fight is so important, right? Because there's gonna be 100 million eyes on it. It's gonna be on Netflix. I'm telling you, no, Bucho.
No, you're right. No, because the way you said,
They're still like he's still living in the 90s. He thinks it's 2001. He thinks it's fucking 1989.
I never thought about this. You're right. This fight is so important because it's like a how do you call it?
It's gonna be a fucking wake up call. It's gonna be a cultural phenomenon. So look, 100 million eyes will be watching on Netflix, dude, and they're gonna see this guy get ragdolled like fucking Amir Khan, and they're gonna be like, "What?" There's gonna be. I'm telling you, there's gonna be a shock. There's gonna be a dead silence. People are gonna be scared for this motherfucker's life. All right, Canelo's gonna be like, "Oh shit, I fucking killed him."
This is crazy. You're having like a Neo Matrix see the moment. Imagine Canelo just ragdolled this guy, and people are like, "Hey, boxing's really good. Let's watch it again." And I know where boxing's popular again.
Yeah, they're gonna be shocked like Agent Smith there, or what's his name? What's the Agent Smith?
Yeah, Agent Smith.
Yeah, he's like, oh my god,
when
I
he
shot
tried
the
to
guy.
shoot the guy, and he just like he gets back up and he's like, "No."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, that's pretty much it. This is the fight. It's a crossroad fight. Like where the sport is going. It's going more international. We're seeing all these East Europeans now coming in. And yeah, the era of American domination is, it's not over. It's never going to be over, obviously.
It's gone. Where's it at? Where's it at, Bucho? At 135?
No,
140?
Sorry, not domination. There's always going to be American boxers, man, obviously. But no, they're not going to be
American champions.
Yes.
But it's not going to be like, okay, but like I said, it used to be every division. It was like, the Americans were dominating. Now there's like one or two. It was smaller divisions. It's smaller divisions now.
Right, because before it used to be a complete domination, American domination almost, so now it's more, there's divided.
There's one or two weight classes, three. You know what I mean? There's a couple guys there.
Bro, just look at the top 10. How many Americans are in the top 10?
That's a good question. Yeah. Who are the top 10? Crawford?
Usyk, Bivol.
Oh, you're talking non-American? Almost all of them.
Crawford's the only American there.
Well, Teofimo Lopez, is he still there? No.
No. Pound for pound, no.
Well, he beat the lineal champion, Josh Taylor. But...
That was a while ago, though. Like, what have you done recently?
Barbosa?
Wait. The way you said it sounded so sad.
Is there any other Americans in the top 10 pound for pound list?
No, there hasn't been one in a long time, actually. It's only been Crawford.
Tank Davis?
No, fuck that. No, not on my list. Wait, so Shazar says it's true. Bivol is an American from Indio, California. Remember?
Shazar.
Yeah, that's right.
Shazar's coping so hard right now.
Yeah, no, but this is a very interesting fight, important fight for all these people that are clinging on this
phenomenon. Yeah,
yeah, it's a breaking point. It's a historical moment.
It really is. Watch, it's gonna be talked about in 100 years in boxing. Like, wow, when Canelo knocked fucking Crawford's head off into the front row.
Are you saying it's a turning point?
Right in Kelly Atlas's lap.
Is this a turning point for the sport of boxing?
Dude, wait, sobers. Teddy Atlas is gonna cry, hold Crawford while he's like, and he's gonna get up and point a gun at Canelo.
Like Mike Tyson.
Yo, I think Turkey's gonna hold Crawford's hand like while he's on the ground.
He'll be like, my boy.
Look what they done to my boy.
You remember when Usyk knocked out what's it, Bellew?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Eddie Hearn was
knocked off the rope and Eddie Hearn tried to catch him.
Damn.
Yeah, and he was crying.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna see.
Oh, I hope so, bro. I'm so tired of these people.
This is gonna be interesting, and the hype is gonna start kicking in as we approach September. And it's funny, like, again, these people who didn't want to see this fight, who thought it was a mismatch, and now all of a sudden, oh, well, it's no longer a mismatch. I have Crawford winning, blah, blah, blah. Like the guy who was on, used to be on this show, Solidus. This guy disappeared because he's going to switch.
Oh, he
his prediction is going to be
still on YouTube. He's just not on IFPFP. He's not here anymore. He talks his shit somewhere else.
Yeah, but he was saying that the fight was a mismatch. You know, Canelo's gonna win, but now that the fight's official and all of that, like now he has to support Crawford, and he's picking Crawford. And actually, you can say, you know what, I want Crawford to win. That's fine. I mean, you can pick her, but to say that it's a mismatch and still pick Crawford, then you're just being disingenuous.
There's just counter logic. That's straight up oxymoron, dude. That's
yeah, you said it. It's an oxymoron. It doesn't make sense.
This fight's gonna be split down the middle on fight night. Watch.
Oh.
And I'm happy about that because I'm about to throw a grand at this and make some money.
Yeah, my thing is this though. Like, if Crawford starts running or clinching or whatever, stalling the fight, he can make it to the 12th. If he can make it to a 12th round, I don't know.
That's the only thing I'm scared about, is that if he can make it to 12, Turkey might, you know.
Canelo has to go for the knockout. He has to go for the knockout.
At
because
least knock down 1 or 2.
He needs to, at least knock him down multiple times. If he goes 12 rounds and he dropped him multiple times, okay, that's fine. You did a good job. If he goes 12 rounds and this guy didn't hurt Crawford, then this guy should be ashamed of himself.
Don't worry, my friend. Easy money, bro.
He said, Turkey, you're going to be so mad, Turkey. You're going to be so mad.
You're going to be so mad.
I want to go beat up your boyfriend. You're going to be hella mad. What do you say?
I don't know, but this Crawford behavior of pushing Canelo, you're going to whoop your ass and all that, he's trying to pump himself up. That's what's happening.
Kind of sad, bro, because I don't believe him. That's the thing. Like, I like shit talk when the person believes it, but this guy doesn't believe what he's saying.
He doesn't believe it. At the beginning of this whole press tour or whatever, he was, like if you watch the Piers Morgan interview with Canelo and Crawford, they were sitting side by side. Nobody was talking shit. I think both of them were saying, we don't need to talk shit because, we're the best of the best. We don't need to try and sell this fight. All of a sudden, Crawford starts acting like crazy. He starts pressing Canelo. I need to show you like who I am. I'm stronger than you think. What the fuck's going on? Is he getting nervous? Is he trying to get into Canelo's head?
Like I said, he's reading the Twitter comments and he's looking at everybody, telling him that he's gonna get knocked out and he's gonna lose and he don't got a chance. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, well, I gotta show them that's not what it is. So he goes in there and trying to put on a show.
But
I also think he's feeling the pressure too. Like he's feeling the aura. Like we were saying, like Canelo's like, bro, come on, get the fuck out of my face with your bullshit. And he's feeling the confidence. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't look as confident as he did against Spence.
You're right. He doesn't like the fact that Canelo's just being Canelo, relaxed, smiling, confident. He doesn't like that.
Crawford doesn't like. Crawford's trying to realize it's not his show.
Sorry.
I was just saying. Crawford's trying to realize it's not his show.
Yeah, that could be it as well.
That's what I was going to say, dude. Sobers, you took it from me because I was going to say, like, I don't know if you ever had an older brother or something like that, because I have an older brother and a younger brother, and that's like an older brother technique is what you do is you talk shit and then you wait for the other kid to spaz out and you just be quiet, and it's kind of funny, Like he's hitting him with
he's not in control.
He put the mic down and he waited for Crawford to spaz out.
Right,
yeah.
But Crawford's not in control. That's the thing. He's always in control. He's always that guy. You know, it's a fight. Yeah, it's two guys fighting, but he's that guy. He's getting all the attention. He's, he doesn't have to talk that much shit. His presence says it all. You know, I'm the two-time undisputed champion, 3-division champion. I'm the undefeated guy. But now he's sitting next to Canelo. That aura Canelo's not feeling it. He's not feeling that aura.
Most definitely, bro.
He's like, he's just another guy. And now I think Crawford's starting to see that Canelo's behavior, and he's like, "Fuck, I gotta do something. I gotta try to impose myself here." And so now he's talking all this shit, trying to push him. Well, I don't know what the hell he was trying to do. Like, he was pressing Canelo. I said, what do you think was gonna happen? Of course, he's gonna push you back with one arm.
I mean, it doesn't make sense either, because you see what happens to the dudes that would try to do that with Canelo, right? Caleb Plant, he tried to walk up on him and slap Canelo. What happened to him? Saunders, you know what I mean? He tried his whole bullshit. What happened to him? He got his orbital cracked. It was like, I don't know. Canelo's keeping it business, but now you're giving him a reason to want to knock you out.
Yeah, maybe it was a bad idea then.
What if he did? What if he was cool? What if he was cool with Crawford just running around the ring like Skull? And now he's like, "No, I'm not gonna let you do that. I'm gonna stop you." It hurts.
I don't know if you saw the interview with what's his name? I don't know, but I just saw it recently. Canelo said, "I'm gonna hit you like I hit Saunders. You're not gonna walk out of this one clean, bro." Like, he straight up said that.
Oh shit! Because he didn't like Saunders. Remember that he hated Saunders.
He didn't like Saunders, bro.
No,
he fucking hated that guy.
I think he still hates him.
I think Crawford fucked up. I think he should have just kept his mouth shut, get in there, run, get your paycheck, and get the fuck out.
Did you see that evil ass smile Canelo gave Crawford after he pushed him?
Yeah. He's like, okay.
Got that little video right there for the thing. He gave a murderous stare at Bucho.
You made this, or what the fuck?
Shout out to Juan Rambo. He's out there in the comment section.
I'm gonna post it on Discord. But I saw that. I think he likes that. I think Canelo likes this because now he's like, okay, now I have more motivation here.
Like, now I want to fight. Yeah, now I want to hurt you.
Yeah.
Before he could have been like, all right, well, I'm just going to get paid a bunch of money. Like how I looked at Skull, you know what I mean? Like, Skull was a means to an end. So he didn't have to put on the most spectacular performance. He didn't even try to. He said, well, I'm winning, so let me just win. So now this fight means something more to his legacy. Like, Canelo knows this fight is going to go down in history. He knows it's a cultural phenomenon as well. He knows what the stakes are. He knows how high the stakes are.
Yeah.
You guys don't watch football, right? You guys, no, none of you football?
I don't.
No? Okay, well, Tom Brady used to do this shit that I loved about him, is that if you would talk shit to Tom Brady, he would make you pay for it. If you didn't talk shit, it was fine, whatever. You go in there, get in the game, get out, right? But if you talk shit to him, he would remember every single little thing you said, and he would talk shit during the whole game while beating you.
It's motivation.
I think Canelo is exactly the same way. I see it in him. It's the exact same type of person.
Yeah, he's getting motivated now.
You shouldn't have done that, bro. Should have not motivated him.
I think he's going to try to knock him out now. And he should, because he's fighting a smaller guy, right? Everybody's saying, little Crawford fighting a fucking Goliath. So, Canelo should play his role. Knock this guy out.
I'm supremely confident. Look, Dirk is one of those guys that we were talking about. He found his nuts. He made a bet with me on this fight. He thinks that Crawford's going to win.
How much did he bet you?
I can't remember. I think it was 50 or 30. It wasn't that much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see.
It's more just like, bro, you really were not that dumb. You know what I mean? Like, just like we were saying, like these dudes that say this is a dumb mismatch, but all of a sudden when the fight's signed, now you're picking Crawford. Like, okay, let's go. Run that.
I'm going through the BDA records here. On January the 17th, Mirage says Terence gets robbed against Canelo. Okay.
Wait, you have a record sheet? That's funny.
No, it's a BDA records, man. We record this shit. We also have Booty Juice. Oh, do you guys remember Booty Loose?
Yeah.
The Law Lizard.
That was a year ago.
Campos bet. I wrote here. Campos bets with Mr. Booty Juice. Canelo beats Crawford. Oh, I think Booty Juice disappeared. He probably picked Crawford.
He's been gone for a while.
Yeah.
I think his therapist on to delete his YouTube account.
Probably.
Maybe he took a Johnny Boy route and somewhere else.
Who wrote between Justin and Never Sobers? Charlo will beat Canelo. That was in 2023.
Yeah, Justin Ukibiala. Yeah, he didn't want to. When it was time for the fight, when he got signed, he backed out.
Okay. Well, anyways, that's crazy. Yeah, that's why we write this stuff down, guys.
Write down Dirk and mine, so you don't act stupid.
Well, I already
write it down.
You made a bet with Dirk, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna write down Sobers versus Dirk.
Yeah, right now. What's up? What's up, Food TV?
Yeah, what's up? Do you hear me? Give me a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you guys are on. How long you been on?
For almost 3 hours.
Oh my god, damn. I got on here late.
Yeah, we're just talking.
I'm glad Julian's here because I think his analysis and breakdown of Crawford have actually been spot on. Like, genuinely.
Oh, well,
and I've been watching a lot of his fights back.
Wait. What was your prediction for the Tevin Farmer fight and Kid Austin?
Blowout.
Okay, you got it right.
Awesome. I said Awesome was going to blow him out. I told Sobers the other day that guy's going to beat him faster than
Yeah. He mentioned. So
he knows that.
Okay.
And I know I see a lot of people now talking about Zepeda. It's not to take anything away from him, but it's just a different style. You know, I think Austin will blow out Shakur just the same. I think Zepeda could also beat him, but it's not going to be as fast. It's going to be a different style of fight, you know. He doesn't have that kind of ability to really blow you out like that, but he can outwork. He has a lot of attributes that, you know, Austin doesn't have. But yeah. I'm just saying that because I hear a lot of people online right now just shitting on Zepeda. They're like, oh my God, look, that guy's a bum. Farmer's a bum. It's like, no, he isn't. He's not a bum, you know? And, you know, that's just to take it away from Zepeda. The guy yesterday, Chris Mannix, is taking it away from Kid Austin as well. He's like, oh, he was softened up by the two fights with Zepeda.
Mm-hmm.
Two dudes all robbing each other. It's like, bro, why can't it just be a great performance, you know? It was a great performance for Zepeda as well. It's just different. He doesn't possess that kind of explosiveness. That's the thing.
I mean, but there was a decline with Zepeda between the first fight, with Farmer. The first Zepeda fight, the second fight. The second fight wasn't as competitive as the first. But
yes,
you know,
because Zepeda made the adjustment.
He made the adjustment, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's true. It's not like Farmer's gonna completely go on the decline in less than a year, in a year or something like that.
I was watching the second fight yesterday. Farmer is he's dangerous. He's more dangerous than Shakur. Like, people forget that. But he really is. You know what? He actually packs a punch.
My issue with Zepeda, though, is like when he comes in, obviously it's not the best. Like he's a little bit open sometimes, but the explosiveness. Yeah. I think you need explosiveness to beat a guy like Shakur, who's gonna be on the defensive, on the back foot, even running. I think Schofield has a better chance.
I think he's gonna lose. If he does that, I think for sure on the scorecards he's gonna lose. I don't think Turkey's gonna let him get away with that. If he's running from Zepeda the whole fight, he's gonna lose. The big problem with Zepeda is that he really needs to not just be winging out punches and wear himself out. He's got to watch out for that left straight to the body from Shakur. That's gonna be his best shot. And he's got to use punches to set up punches. That's what Zepeda's gonna have to do. The big one I think he should use is a right hook to the body, right? Because what you want to do is you want to control what Shakur does. You want to make him give you the angle, right? This is what Maidana did against Floyd Mayweather. He made Floyd give him the angle. Remember, he hit him with that touch, that left touch to the body, and then guess what would come next, right? That overhand right, and would come right through the middle. Yeah. He's creating that opening. So he's reading Floyd's defense and using his defense to his advantage. This is one of the things guys never did to Floyd. And it's hard to do it because these guys are movers, right? So it's hard to get that angle because they're constantly moving. And since they have that reach advantage, they catch you with the shot as you're coming in. So he has to be kind of patient. And his approach, he has to watch with his approach. You don't want to come in straight lines. You got to watch out because the big thing Shakur has is that stab to the body. But he's really not super dangerous. Like, he's not going to knock Zepeda out, right? I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, this guy's doing Farmer shots. And Farmer's not a huge puncher, but
you could catch him coming in like Farmer did, but that wasn't. I mean, it's not like Zepeda was hurt or anything. He dropped.
No. But Zepeda was eating some big punches from Farmer, and he was eating them like they were nothing, coming right in. So I don't expect Shakur to be able to knock him out.
Hell no. I don't even expect Shakur to have the balls that Farmer did in that first. Standing his ground and punching with Zepeda. Like, he's gonna be on the back foot, playing it safe behind a jab.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's an interesting fight for sure. That one.
I mean, just to add to your point, again, just to like rephrase the point again. Farmer had three training camps and 3 fights in less than a year, man. I mean, shit.
He's active too, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it wasn't like, he had that Murataya fight. He had the 2 fights with Zepeda in less than what, like 10 months or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the dude was busy as a motherfucker. I mean, I still give kudos to Austin. He had to do what he had to do. But he was coming up, a couple of weight cuts, and he couldn't even make the weight. His first time around by like a couple of ounces. He probably only had to like take a shit or something. But
yeah.
But and you can tell like he was already exhausted, because by his frame you can tell like he walks around like 140 something. So making 135 isn't really a big deal for him. But when he got caught on that jaw, man, and that's a couple of flurries, and even looks slappy. Even by the standard, look kind of slappy. Mm-hmm. But I think Kid Austin, he still needs to be polished. That first round knockout, I didn't see nothing from him.
Mm-hmm. I thought he looked pretty good. I mean, obviously he's a work in progress.
Yeah, kudos to him, man.
He's a work in progress, but it's a great start. He's looking pretty good. I think he's doing what he's supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. Yeah. But again, I just brought up the Zepeda because people will now shit on his win because of that, right? But it's just because they just got different strengths,
Gonzalo was saying that Schofield's just too big for the division, and that's playing to his advantage.
I mean, he's almost identical size to Farmer. They're not too much.
I don't know, man. Farmer looks a little bit smaller.
He looked bigger. He looked bigger.
Yeah, Farmer was at 130. Maybe. Remember, he was a 130 fighter. This guy looks like he should be fighting a 140, 147 eventually. No, maybe not 140. Well, he looks big for one.
Yeah. I guess sort of.
But I'm not. I mean,
he's a little stocky dude.
Yeah.
Man, that happened. Those muscle bellies grow on those guys like that. Those little guys. Like, the dude's 5'3" or something. He's like a little short guy, isn't he?
No, really? Again, he's the lightweight version of Sean Porter.
Yeah, that's what he reminds me of. Yeah. But he could punch. Like, Porter couldn't punch like this guy can.
Right. No, but he would smother you and shit. Like, he was terrible.
The only person that Porter really knocked out brutally was Paulie Malignaggi.
He didn't really knock him out either.
He looked like Mike Tyson in that fucking fight.
He just ragdolled him.
Yeah.
The funniest Porter fight you'll ever see.
Is it going to be Canelo Crawford?
Like Porter versus Birdle's got to be one of the funniest fights ever. The way he mauled that dude, he's like, he's punching his face. He's like, oh my god! It looked like 2 Ninja Turtles going at it. It was hilarious.
Yeah, they were like the two Oompa Loompa welterweights.
Yeah. But I mean, this guy was just grinding him into the ropes. Porter. He's just working him. That's what cooking is. When a guy does that, that's what you call cooking. It's getting a little too hot in that kitchen. You know, you hear people saying that all the time now. They're like, Shakur's gonna cook Zepeda. He's gonna cook him. Like, how the fuck you cooking him how's he cooking him when he's running?
Yeah, no, exactly. He's gonna whoop this guy. Or you can't whoop a guy if you're playing it safe.
Fool. Or you know how they do, fool? They be like Timothy Bradley. He be gassing him too much. He be like, oh, nice tie up.
Yeah, nice. He got that wrestling skills. They said this the other day. You got Crawford in these interviews. He's like, I got a wrestling background. I'm like, what the fuck? I thought we were talking about boxing here. Did you hear that stupid ass comeback?
Yeah, what was that about? Like,
dude, that guy's got to be the worst fucking trash talker in the history of trash talkers. He's like, yeah, you're elite, you're great. He's like, but what happened when you went up in weight and you lost to Bivol? Well, you're a good fighter then. This idiot basically said that he's going to lose to Canelo. That's what he said, right? Because he's the one doing the step up. Yeah. So he's basically comparing himself to Canelo going up. Right. So yeah, because Canelo said you're a good fighter. So okay, well, if you guys are equal and you're good and Canelo's good, then what does that mean? Because you're doing what Canelo did, right? Basically, you said that he's elite. You lost to the elite. So logically, Canelo made sense, and this fucking idiot's just like all over the place.
He agreed.
Did you hear? He's also saying this other shit where he's like, well, you know, Canelo didn't really fight any elite fighters, but I'm not going to go into that. You're not going to go into it because. Your case is trash. That's why there's no case there.
Right.
Dude, Canelo, you want to talk about cooking? Canelo fucking cooked that dude. You fight nobody elite. Nobody elite.
English was one of the worst things that happened to
you don't. I forgot that there was this guy saying that. I said it in one of my streams. I'm like, it's crazy to me because I was watching the stream live, right? And I'm like, this dude's getting fucking cooked by a guy who English is his second language. Yeah. How is this guy destroying you right now? It's crazy.
But so we're talking about this before FUTV about how Crawford has changed. His behavior has changed. At the beginning, you know, both guys were friendly. We don't need to trash talk. Blah blah blah. Yeah. Now all of a sudden, you know, Crawford's becoming more aggressive. Why do you think that is?
Yeah. Well, I heard someone on here that made a good point. Sorry, I don't remember. I was driving. I just got back home. Mm-hmm. I heard someone made the point on here that maybe, you know, Crawford feels like he's kind of been through this. Like he's fighting Earl Spence and certain fighters, and they were saying that he's going to lose. So he's like applying that same logic to this. And you know, he is kind of bulked up a little bit. I don't believe that that's really his true frame. I feel like he's kind of like a little bloated. He has to be a little bloated, you know, for the appearance. Canelo, it looks like they told him to be a little lean. If you notice, he's kind of thin in the face. And this fight is, over 2 months away? So to me, it's a little bizarre that his face is already thinned out. Tells me that public perception's a big part in selling a fight. What it makes me think is he's trying to psych himself up. But it doesn't matter because you can psych yourself up all day. The moment you get in that ring, that's when reality hits, right? And you're standing right across from Canelo, who's bigger than you, just naturally bigger. And that's when shit starts to really hit the fan. He'll realize it as soon as he steps in the ring. You'll see it around the close to the fight.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's true. I mean, I think he always knew that the fight was going to happen, especially, but they announced it before Canelo fought Skull. You know, and it's one thing to imagine yourself fighting Canelo, but then when you're at the press conference and all that, that's different because it's happening for real.
Right? Oh yeah, exactly. That's what I said. Yeah, you saw it the first day. Did you see the first press conference when they did the face-to-face?
Yes.
I mean, he's wearing that fear all over his face. It's like reality hit. He's like, shit, this is actually happening.
Exactly.
I can't get out.
You were thinking about it, but now it is. Yeah.
Holy it's real. Shit. And then he came out the next day. He's going through some sort of. He probably talking to himself all night. Yeah. But right now, that shit's going to be ringing in his head through a whole training camp. You fight with nobody. That's going to keep going on. Oh, he's hitting the heavy bag. You fight with nobody. And he just keeps slamming the bag.
At some point, he gave up on that. He's like, yeah. And then he's like, you never faced anybody elite. Yeah, I'm gonna face you. Remember that? He said that?
Yeah. But that really shows you something, right? That this guy knows for a fact that he's been cherry picking. And that he's fighting these washed up guys. Because you would have thought he would have brought up guys like Brook, or any of those guys, Khan, Brook.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He brought up what's his name?
Ricky Burns. Postol.
Those guys aren't elite. Like, what the fuck is he even talking about? And then Canelo's like, who the fuck is that guy? Oh, Postal, that's the guy I saw. This guy get knocked out in my gym. It's like, who the fuck is that guy? That was hilarious.
He said he saw a 30-year-old beat him up or something like that.
He saw some random dude just beat his ass in the gym. He's nobody. Postal was never great. He was never elite. No. Come on, bro.
No, he was a contender.
He took Lucas Matisse's soul, right? But
that was after.
No, but he did it.
Before.
That Matisse was broken. He was broken to pieces. He had been in 2 wars. He fought Danny Garcia, who broke his orbital bone. And I actually thought he won that fight. Going by the rules of the sport, Danny Garcia was never supposed to hit this guy when he was on the other end of the ropes. You know that, right? That knockdown shouldn't have even been counted.
Oh, and then the
crazy.
Low blows,
These dudes don't even know. Oh, yeah, that too. But the fact that, look, Danny pushed him under the ropes. Remember? He came back up. The ropes were in between him.
He went down to get out of the ropes. He didn't go down from punches.
Well, he did get hit with a punch, I thought, but he was on the outside of the ring.
Yeah, you can't.
You remember that?
Yeah. Like he's trying to get untangled.
Oh, you're right.
Yes, you cannot hit a boxer when they're on the other end of the ropes. They should have never called that a knockdown. If anything, they could have taken a point, or who knows, maybe a DQ. You can't do that because that's restricting his movement. And the reason he was outside is because Danny pushed him out the ring, right? That was fucked up. And then soon after that, he got the broken orbital bone, which, kind of went all back downhill. And then Matisse has this war against, what's this guy's name?
John Molina Jr.
No, not Molina. Maybe that was a war. I don't remember that fight. But he had another. But he had another war versus Ruslan. That was a crazy war. So this guy got his bones all fucked up in his face. He has that shallow face. I actually think Crawford has a face like that. That's why I think Canelo might actually break his face, like literally break his face.
Another.
He has those kind of high cheekbones, he has those high cheekbones like guys like Brook. He has that. Crawford really does have that.
Oh, you're right. They're sticking out the cheekbones.
Yeah, they protrude. Those high cheekbones. Yeah. And so Matisse has those, if you notice. And so what I'm saying is, look, Matisse got fucked up in those 2 fights, and then he fought Paul Stout, and then the same injury came back. So
Okay.
You know, Paul Stout's a pillow puncher.
I gotta ask you this though, because you're picking Canelo, obviously, and we were talking earlier about some of these so-called experts, former boxers. They're all picking Crawford. Not all of them. A lot of them are picking Crawford.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, it's, these guys, a lot of them are kind of brainwashed. They just kind of go off of whatever the hell they've been told. I might do a show tonight. I'm going to be looking at a video of Shaquille O'Neal, which I thought was extremely funny because they said, oh, so who's going to win, Canelo or Crawford? He said, he thought about it. He was like, Crawford. Of course, Crawford. He's like, and the interviewer did something that most interviewers never do. And the interviewers asked him, why? He was like, because he's the greatest of all time. And then the interviewer said, wait, but I thought Ali was the greatest of all time.
You don't even
just
know.
fucked him all up. He said, and then he's like, keep in mind, he said the greatest of all time. This is what he said about Crawford. And then the guy said, well, I thought Muhammad Ali was the greatest of all time. They said, you got to understand, it's about eras. But it's like, bro, you just said greatest of all time.
Okay,
so now we have two greatest of all time.
To be fair, this guy's a basketball player. All right,
exactly.
What about Timothy Bradley?
Tim Bradley's friends.
People like that, Andrew Ward.
Those
Teddy
guys
Atlas.
Teddy Atlas. Teddy Atlas is full of shit. That's the simplest way to put it. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Doesn't this guy pick like everybody that's look if it's Deontay Wilder, he's gonna knock out Tyson Fury. Oh shit, I always predicted.
So you're saying that you know more than these experts? Right?
Oh, definitely. But the thing is look, a lot of these guys, they get paid for this shit. Also, you got to build it up for this guy here, right? Because I think logically, anybody who knows the sport and looks at their careers, looks at their skills, most people would lean towards Canelo because he's got most of the advantages here.
Right.
This guy's coming up. He's putting on a good job with his image. He's coming a little bloated. He looks a little bulked up a little bit. But I've seen him without that shirt. He's looking weird. This guy's looking real weird. He's like, that HGH, man, he needs to take either more or less. I don't know what it is. He's kind of like fat a little bit, and he got this big ass head, but this body didn't quite grow enough. Mm-hmm. It looks like actually his head looks like it's growing, but the rest is not. It's weird. It also made his dick shrink.
Yeah,
just want to cap it off that joke.
Right.
That's a joke.
Yeah,
actually, it shrinks your balls. Actually.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but Rich Piana says that's a good thing. because you never.
Is he
want
dead now?
Yeah, he's dead. He's dead. But it was. I don't think it was the HGH that killed him.
Well, what do you think?
It might have been. It might have been actually.
I mean, he was thinking a bunch of shit. I think he fell and he cracked his skull or something. He hit his head.
Yeah, he passed out and he hit his head. But it was the heart attack. I think that did.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, because he passed out or something. But anyways,
yeah, he was killed by his own heart. It's crazy.
Yeah. All right, you know what? We're gonna end it. Are you gonna do a show then? Tell people to...
That's a weird ending to the show, man.
Yeah, I know.
We should say.
We've been here for a long time, man. But if check out FUTV's channel. If you
Thanks a lot. Yeah, the Real Food TV.
Real.
I might do a little show today. It's getting a little late, so I'm probably gonna do that soon.
All right.
Yeah, so what'd you guys think of that Chavez fight? Just going, real quick. I actually thought he won. I thought he won.
Oh, come on.
I did. I scored it live. I thought
come on. He didn't do shit for the first 8.
He didn't do the first 3. The first 3. I marked it down. He lost very clearly the first 3. Big time.
I don't know, man. Listen, I wanted him to win, but I don't think he won, man. Come on. Like, he didn't do shit.
I scored it for him. I wasn't like his, it's not biased. I scored it for what it is. He won, man. He effing won.
Usually I would tell you I'm going to rewatch it, but no, I'm not going to rewatch that. So, I don't know. Well, that's...
I'm telling you, man, this guy won. Chavez is retarded. He's like, I think I win the last 4. Something like that, first 3 or 4. I had him winning more than that. I had him actually winning by 2 rounds. If he would, maybe you'll give or take, if he would have lost one of the rounds that I thought he won, then it would have been a draw. But the way these guys made it out, they made that shit almost a clean sweep. They gave this fucking retard what? Almost every round. They gave Chavez 2 rounds. That's not what that was.
What do you think's next for Jake Paul?
A fake fight.
Hopefully the funeral home. Okay, that's a joke. I don't know. Who was he gonna fight? What's his name? Who's this guy that fought yesterday? Zurdo.
There was a face-off. They had a face-off.
Yeah,
it was a joke.
Zurdo, dude, that dude looked like absolute garbage last night.
He looked slow. I was saying that.
Terrible. Zurdo. Yeah. Terrible.
Man, he was in the Matrix, bro. Quit hating. You're gonna tell me Chavez won and Zurdo looked bad.
He looked very bad, very, very bad. Because he's a professional, Look, Chavez is coming straight out of rehab. You expect that from him. And actually, he was hitting this guy with harder punches than Zurdo was. Zurdo was just like, he was doing the badoinks, man, all day. Badoink, badoink, badoink.
Well, Zurdo is he's a super middleweight. He's fighting outside of his weight class.
Yeah, he is. For sure. Look at his body, man. Come on.
Yeah, fat. Yeah, both guys look terrible, but he was just, I expected more from him, and I just thought he looked terrible. I think he looked so bad that it wouldn't shock me if Jake Paul could beat him.
Oh, get the hell out of here. I know you're joking. Come on.
He looked terrible.
I don't know if you're joking, to be honest, anymore, because you had
I'm exaggerating. You got to... No, I did. I thought
oh, God.
I scored it. I scored it live, and I thought he won the fight.
All right, man.
Unless I missed something, but I watched the whole thing. I was counting all the punches. Jake Paul's just letting it touches on this guy, touching him, not even hitting him with real punches.
It's not like Jake Paul. Jake Paul did the bare minimum, obviously, but Chavez wasn't doing shit, so that's why he was winning. But it was funny how Jake Paul was getting fucking tired at the end, and when Chavez started to actually let his hands go, man. Jake Paul, his eyes opened up. Like, he was like, holy shit.
Well, that started around the 4th round. That's when it started happening. And Chavez Jr. said that. He said, I saw him gassing in the 4th. And that's actually the first round I had him winning. And from there, he kept winning round after round. I had him winning Chavez, I had him winning the 4th, 5th, and 6th. And then Jake Paul won the 7th. And then Chavez Jr. won the last 3.
All right. After that, well, anyways, man, you know what? We're going to end it here. Go check out the real FUTV. And
yeah.
Yep. All right. Yeah. I'm going to check it out later.
Thanks a lot, man.
What the fuck am I chop liver?
Exactly. Sober's got a channel too, man.
Yeah, it's Sober's. Go ahead. Plug it, man.
No. It's okay. Go check out FUTV.
Oh, my God. Come on. Just say it.
You guys can plug your channels. I don't give a fuck,
So Sobers keeps changing the name of his channel. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, on my channel, I'm like never Sobers Reloaded, and he's like, now it's not Never Sobers Reloaded anymore, right? It's not.
Well, I just took out the Reloaded, right?
You took out the Reloaded, right?
Yeah. Now I'm just lock, cock, and ready to rock.
Oh, that's the name of the channel now?
Yeah.
That's a good name for a channel. Damn, I'm gonna take that.
Anyways, I'm gonna end it here.
Yeah.
All right, see you guys. Thank you for being on the show. All right, everybody on YouTube, thank you for joining us. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed the show and you want to support us. Hit the like. It really helps us out. And yeah, stay tuned for more BDA boxing. It might be a morning show, I think, with Mr. BDA. I don't know. I think he said he maybe was gonna host a show. All right, let's put some music here. See ya.